Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Will it work? Will it work? Will it work? Is this gonna work? I'm trying to make something work. Will it work? Will it work? Will it work? Will it work? What do you mean something went wrong? Oh. Oh no, it didn't work. Hold on, let me do something else.
Nobody likes a cracked windshield.
Nobody likes your ads! I thought I could have done something. I guess I was wrong. Come on, let's try this again. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Try it again. Try it again. Okay, cool. This should be working in the way that I intended it. Alright, so... Alright. We have more videos loaded up. Same playlist that I've procured from yesterday, but if there's more news that were released, then we're going to go through the IGN page. And we're going to take IGN with a grain of salt, because IGN does not have the best track record. It has done really good Monster Hunter reviews, but others have been questionable, and we've enjoyed enough of it to say it's okay. But you still got to verify your choice, verify your sources. But let's go with Pragmata. Now with Pragmata, it's been memed on for a couple of years. Even Maximilian over here, he's had like a thing where he had to like do like a X amount of like gift subs for like getting it to be true. And during the last Summer Games Fest, or earlier than that, Max was proven wrong. So let's check out Pragmata and the way we are rethinking shooting games. Let's check it out.
We're here at Gamescom 2025 and we're at the Capcom booth where we've checked out Pragmata.
What's up with them again? I didn't even start yet, and there's like stupid like ads. I don't want these ads, man. What makes you think I want your ads?
What the hell is Pragmata?
It's Capcom's first new IP for a while, and you play as a guy called Hugh, who's the guy in the spacesuit with all the armor on it. And basically, it's a third-person shooter that's a little bit more weird than you'd normally expect, because you have like this weird kid on your shoulder, and she hacks things for you.
Oh, she's an android though,
yeah,
specifically.
Yeah.
An android.
Not an actual kid. Like, it's not.
She's basically a kid. She is modeled to be that kind of like size. You're not gonna tell me you're afraid of a four-letter word, right? But the reality is, this is meant to be Last of Us in space.
It's not kind of child endangerment in space or anything. But yeah, essentially the idea is every enemy has to be hacked before you can damage them.
Yeah.
So the way that this happens is you aim down sights, and when you do that, like a grid appears on screen, and it's basically kind of like a small hacking minigame where you have to go from like point A to point B, snake it around using the face buttons to get this line to the exit point.
Dodge too.
And then when that happens, essentially you're all weapons free, and you can damage the enemy with your variety of guns that you pick up.
Yeah, so interestingly, I noticed as well, that may sound like intense to a person.
It makes me really hope that Diana is like really lightweight. Otherwise, it's gotta be a hard time just to have her on your back lugging this child for days on end, hours on end, because a child's average weight can lead up to 100 pounds depending on the diet.
Before you even fire a shot, to do this mini-game, but the enemies, well, at least what we've played, are quite slow moving. The problem gives you a nice window to like actually focus on the mini-game while you're doing it. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think they've kind of had to rethink how shooting works in a third-person shooter. It's not like Vanquish or kind of something like Doom Eternal.
Well, in third person,
the way that they rethought how shooting would work is they sped things up. This actually really slows things down. So from what we played, you're only going up against like maybe 2 enemies at a time, and because you're only up against 2 enemies, you've got that time to go through the mini-game. The harder the enemies are, the kind of harder the mini-game becomes. But never really that challenging. That's my only kind of like concern of what we've played so far, is after you've done it like 2 or 3 times.
Wait, who is this? Who even is this guy that's being interviewed? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, let's do this.
We're here at Gamescom 2025 and we're at the Capcom booth where we've checked
Matt Perslow.
out Pragmata. As you can see here, Matt, what the hell is Pragmata?
It's Capcom's first new IP for a while, and you play as a
Okay, what's because like it's okay. So it's another IGN employee. Okay, that helps my answer.
When that happens, essentially you're all weapons free, and you can damage the enemy with your variety of guns that you pick up.
Yeah, so interestingly, I noticed as well, that may sound like intense to a person, like before you even fire a shot, to do this mini-game, but the enemies, well, at least what we've played, are quite slow moving, and plus it gives you a nice window to like actually focus on the mini-game while you're doing it. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think they've kind of had to rethink how shooting works in a third-person shooter. It's not like Vanquish or kind of something like Doom Eternal, where the way that they rethought how shooting would work is they sped things up. This actually really slows things down. So from what we played, you're only going up against like maybe 2 enemies at a time, and because you're only up against 2 enemies, you've got that time to go through the mini-game. The harder the enemies are, the kind of harder the mini-game becomes, but never really that challenging. That's my only kind of like concern of what we've played so far, is after you've done it like 2 or 3 times, it sort of instantly becomes second nature to do those mini-games. I do worry that like it's put an extra cog in the machine, but is that really going to make a massive difference to the way this plays?
Yeah, I think
I argue that like the sooner the mechanics become second nature, that then allows the game later on to get even crazier, to require different weapons, and I feel like that concern is valid. Or you're concerned of it getting easier and getting more like dumb-brained, and the demo is meant to show what it can do. So for it to like only have 2 enemies at one time in a demo, you're not giving it grace to say, what if it ramps up? What if it speeds up like later on in the game?
yeah, it felt unique and different at first, but even from our demo, which was about 15 minutes or so, I kind of already found myself getting a bit tired of the process, and I'm wondering what they can do in the later game to like really spice up. I think obviously what we saw in the demo is that you could take quick options, so there's paths where you can choose where you don't activate every element, but it's enough to do a certain amount of damage, but then there's also longer paths where you can snake around, which really like open up the potential there, and I'm wondering what sort of extra elements we're going to see on that grid as the game progresses.
Yeah, as you explore the area, you do find these, I guess, for lack of a better term, you pick up different hacks that then plot themselves on the grid. So it's a case of, oh, as long as you move your line through that hack, you'll get extra damage, or it will reduce kind of like the defenses of the enemy. I'd be really interested to see just how kind of like weird and wild they get later on, or whether it is very purely just attack and defense kind of buffs and debuffs.
Yeah, at the end of the demo, we also saw something a little bit more interesting in terms of combat, which was a big boss battle. He kind of looked like I forget the name, Ed something from RoboCop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we played it, I played it a little bit different to you. I was sneaking around the back and shooting a weak spot, but you were engaging it head on every time. Like,
yeah, there's definitely like those weak spots on the back, which I guess is a bit more of a traditional way you do a boss, right? Find the weak spot, shoot that, wait to get to the next stage. I went for like a full frontal attack, which did mean, I don't know if you had to hack through multiple layers of security, whereas like normal enemies, you hack them once and then you can kill them. This guy...
That makes sense though, to where like it looks like over here there's like benefits if you go through that node, so down, over and around, or you can do like there's definitely it showed different ways to approach. There's definitely several ways to definitely approach puzzles, but for it to do up, right, down, or down left, down right, definitely different options. But like full frontal or like the normal tactic of going from behind, that's traditional.
required me to go like 3 or 4 different routes through there. But then yeah, I was able to overheat the enemy and then do kind of like effectively a quick time attack where Hugh would launch himself onto the back of the enemy.
Come on. I've had enough commercials of Japan, I swear. I'm gonna go to Japan. I know that much, but still, like, this is really reaching for me, guys.
Do kind of like, you know, like 4,000 damage, blow armor panels off it.
Yeah. We didn't really get to see much of what the story is or what these characters are. We just got a small introduction to them. I'm going to be honest, like, feels a bit uninspired at the moment, perhaps. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic of having a little Android.
You can shut up. This is pretty inspired. Like, you say uninspired from a 30-minute demo. Like, what the hell? That's already giving me problems from your impressions already. So, like, why do you say it's unimpressive? Like, from a demo, but like, you're telling me one bite is left you unimpressive. Come on.
A girl on your shoulder. It's like, feels a bit uninspired. So what these characters are, we just got a small introduction to them. I'm going to be honest, like, feels a bit uninspired at the moment, perhaps.
Are you? Maybe you're just talking about the enemies. I'll give you that benefit of the doubt if you're just talking about the enemies. But please, just calm yourself down.
I mean, it's an interesting dynamic of having a little android girl on your shoulder the entire time as a companion there. But I wasn't getting the sense of the relationship so far. What do you think we can see, maybe?
I sort of think, like...
Get the relationship. It's an android child learning the nuances of human emotions, man. That's pretty, like, interactive. You clearly don't have a parental bone in your body quite yet. Or at least your threshold for parental is different.
The smart thing I think about it is that the mechanics of the game build a symbiotic relationship between Diana the girl and Hugh the guy. They literally can't live without each other because one needs to hack and the other one needs to shoot. She can't damage and he can't damage without her. Whether that like builds into an interesting like narrative relationship, whether it, you know,
That's
kind of like
pretty
I think
cool,
of characters
though,
like
right
Joel
here.
and Ellie, they are very dependent on each other.
Joel and Ellie, Last of Us in space.
And that creates like an interesting perspective on that relationship. Whether this has that chops, we got to see, if I could even say half a cutscene. It felt so minimal in what this demo had to offer. I hope there's a lot more to see, which will eventually pull me around on what are quite clinical characters at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the only thing that's clinical, right? The location that you're exploring is very...
that's
as you can see from
crazy.
behind us, it's very white, it's very sterile.
It's white and sterile because you're in space. What other color schemes are you expecting from being in space?
I'm not sure if that's going to be the entire game consists of that sort of stuff, but I was kind of like losing my way a little bit. There wasn't really a map system, but we did
You're a
get to...
space station. Do you want like pastel colors left and right telling you, hey, this is where the kitchen is. Hey, this is where children go. Hey, this is where you can eat and go to the gym. Like, it's going to be white and pastel because space stations are kind of like that if you've never been to a place like that. Like,
a little bit of, as you can see from behind us, it's very white, it's very sterile.
It's supposed
I'm not
to
sure
be.
That's going to be
It's
the
in
entire game
space.
consists of that sort of stuff, but I was kind of like losing my way a little bit. There wasn't really a map system, but we did get to do a little bit of exploration. But I know
in a demo, you're making complaints of a demo. I don't understand why these things have to be so important for you to say in a demo.
You also found a little bit of a tricky time, like actually finding where the last thing we needed was.
Yeah, definitely. Like this demo is set on this lunar base, which is kind of breaking down, and you need to power up sections.
Yeah, like what other, like you're over here, what other colors are you expecting? There's white on the interior, there's yellow boxes, so you can obviously see certain points. There's the blue earth that you're trying to get back to. What other colors are you expecting? It is going to look samey because how else do you make, what kind of design scheme do you expect a space station to be if not sterile sometimes?
Of the facility, and that's kind of all I got about what this facility did. I know that it is powered by something, but it's not like, so for example, when I think of like interesting derelict kind of space bases, I think of something like in Dead Space when you're exploring that spaceship, and every area of it feels like it's, okay, I'm in the medical ward, I'm in the engineering bay. This feels a little bit more...
Because it's within the confines of a spaceship. This is, we're along the confines of a space station. You're going to definitely know where your places are within the confines of a space station because of a small, tight, like, conformality. But this is a space station. Things, I don't know what it's gonna look as sterile as a hospital, unless you go to specific areas that have a specific coloring. But I don't know what the other guy wants.
kind of like wholesale spaceship. There's no individual feeling of tailored environments, and that did mean that kind of like I lost myself a lot of the time. And without a map, like you cannot open a map. You only have the ability to pulse the environment and add a waypoint, which isn't a waypoint that kind of retracts itself as you're going around. You just have to follow that as the crow flies, basically. And I did find myself getting very turned around, sort of like returning to the same environments over and over. I mean, like, I think I've been here, but I can't quite tell because everything feels a bit the same.
Because it makes sense, like in the confines of a space station, it's going to feel the same. And I don't know what you're expecting from a government establishment. Like if you get a space station, if you get a spaceship, maybe it's a little bit more like catered.
So interestingly, we also got a taste of a few weapons, and most of these demos you usually get the traditional weapons like a handgun equivalent, a shotgun equivalent, but there was also, I forget what it's called, but it was also one that sort of fired almost like a gravitational pull, or less a gravitational pull, but more like a freezing net action, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a stasis gun, and it shoots out kind of like a holographic dome net, I suppose, and the idea is that the enemies get caught in it, and I suppose the benefit there is why you may hack them and use the hacking minigame to stall the enemies to get them to stay in place so you can shoot them. This gun effectively does that for you and bypasses what maybe you'd need to do that through hacking.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how many of those kind of like...
Oh, so it looks like, so from what it looks like on the floor, these things you pick on the floor to add as an additional like hack. So not only, so I mean, that's really cool. So if we look at it,
and I suppose the benefit there is why you may hack them, I suppose, and the idea is this gun, and it shoots out kind of like a hologram.
Okay, so they went through the long path of doing down, 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 but I don't know what this is. So either this right here is an indication of a add-on hack that you haven't unlocked yet, because this looks like shield down, and so because you went through shield down, it's
dome net,
addition.
I suppose, and the idea is that the enemies get caught in it, and
then you have like a cooldown time until you can hack it again. So when he's out of the hack, you have to re-hack the game again.
I suppose the benefit there is why you may hack them and use that.
And then on the floor, it drops hacks that you can collect to use later. Okay.
Hacking minigame to stall the enemies to get them to stay in place so you can shoot them. This gun effectively does that for you, and
which now provides the ability, the damageable parts were open because of the blue signal. Blue signal indicates vulnerable parts are open. Defense down means it's a lot weaker, is my understanding.
This is what maybe you need to do that through hacking.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how many of those kind of like side function weapons exist in this game, because the other stuff that we had was a very basic 6-shot pistol, and it was called the shockwave gun. It was effectively like an energy shotgun.
Yeah.
Like other than that, like fairly traditional weapon staples.
I do think that third weapon though really like it teases us with the idea that maybe this could be a game full of unique weapons and unique opportunities, and that's what I'm kind of looking for really, because I already felt like a little bit of a samey action within a small slice, so I'm really hoping that the game can open out and go some weird places. I mean, it's a weird premise, right? You want it to go weird places.
Yeah, what I want to see is not just in like the other weapons, but in the environment design as well. There is a really cool idea at the center of this game, which is that let's take third-person shooting and augment it, like rethink how that works. We slow it down, we reduce the amount of enemies, but we make each enemy harder to defeat because you have to do this hacking minigame. I kind of want that sort of level of thinking everywhere through the game. I want the environment to require more thought. I kind of want that sort of level of amount of enemies, but we make each enemy harder to defeat because you have.
Yeah, because that's what I'm expecting, because throughout the game, I think these red nodes are going to be something you shouldn't hack then. Or I don't know what this would do. But
to do this hacking minigame works, we slow it down, is that weapons, but in the environment design as well. There is a really cool idea at the center of this game, which is that let's take third-person shooting and augment it, like rethink how that works. We slow it down, we reduce the amount of enemies, but we make each enemy harder to defeat because you have to do this hacking minigame. I kind of want...
It makes it more strategic, I feel like. Like, this hacking makes the game even more strategic.
I want that sort of level of thinking everywhere through the game. I want the environment to require more thought. I want the weapons to not just be things that shoot bullets. I want them to have odd and interesting techniques that I have to use to make the most of them.
So that's everything we've learned about Pragmata. Obviously, we got to see some other Capcom games, and you know, stick around for the show. You're going to see more of that. And on our YouTube channel, you can check out more about our thoughts on Resident Evil Requiem and on Onimusha, Way of the Sword. But for everything else, Gamescom 2025, stick with IGN.
I'm not sure if I want to stick with these guys for IGN, but you guys definitely made me react to you in a certain way, and that's pretty okay. What's also cool is, like, I want to see what Max thinks, because, like, I don't want these guys' opinions. These guys' opinions made me rage for some odd reason. Let's look at this guy. Let me see how like Maximilian feels.
I skip over some of the cutscenes and I get straight to the gameplay in this. Because yes, I had the most fun with Pragmata. Pragmata is also like the beginning of the game, but immediately at the beginning of the game is like, all right. With some of the very, very early things the game is setting up, it grabs you and it wants you to like enter its flow state very quickly. And it's like, okay. So
yeah, because like already it just shows like for some reason the two interviewers got bored within the first few minutes.
I get to finally show you what it's like because I think you've seen a little bit of the game. Oh, by the way, this is the PS5 version, and this was running way better. Like, holy shit. Before the PS5 version that we played at Summer Games Fest, the very, very brief version, woo-wee, it was running like 25.
25,
it was like, okay, I
frame
get
rates?
the concept of the game. I think it looks really cool, but oh boy, this needs some polish. It was running pretty
And
poorly.
it's pretty polished now.
We're playing it on base PS5, and it's running great. It looks really good.
What is the grip gun? Oh, this is before you get this. Oh, this is before you meet Diana.
Oh, come on.
So I skip a couple of the cutscenes, you know, just to go into it and just try to like, I was trying to like blitzkrieg through this. Just do it as quick as possible and just blast all these guys, right? Because if there's one thing that this game made me feel is that, ooh, I want to do this fast. I want to get through this really fast. So
And that's where the strategy comes in too.
that's what this recording was me just sort of playing through it really fast. Once you solve the puzzle, the hacking puzzle per enemy, these change, by the way. They get bigger and different depending on the size of the enemy.
Right.
You just got to make your way.
That makes a lot of sense though, because different enemies have different requirements for hacking. So that makes a lot of sense.
Green thing, and also engage these things. These things are like time extenders to a certain degree. And then once you do this, their weak points are exposed. But it doesn't mean the enemy will stop attacking you. They will keep attacking you. So there's this moment where like the dude's about to smack you, and you're having to make the choice of like, oh, do I complete the puzzle and disengage, or do I fucking dodge? What do I do? So that happens a lot.
Oh god.
See, it looks like he would have been like hurt by that, but he's not. He's just
Not
like,
as much.
He's just got weak points exposed.
Don't look now. We got company.
Ah, that hurts.
What? This is my fault?
Yeah, you can go straight to the green, but the weak point will be significantly shorter.
Okay, so the more nodes you go through, it extends the duration of like the weaknesses being available. Okay. That's really cool.
Don't know what that's for. Movement also felt really nice. Cool, like forward dashing and back dashing and stuff. Felt really good.
Really good. That's good to hear.
First one down.
And yeah, from like, I agree. From an outsider's perspective, when you're watching this, it doesn't looks weird. But trust me, dude, once you're in there.
Yeah, it's just like, because like there's definitely this node that you could go through to where Max could have like went down, 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 around, or just here.
It's very fun. Look at this hit stun.
Like a little shockwave gun. Oh god.
Would this make you buy a Ridge wallet?
No, this would not make me buy a Ridge wallet. Come on here.
You're just constantly like solving puzzles, doing things, solving puzzles, doing things, solving puzzles, shooting, doing things, solving puzzles, jumping, shooting, doing things, you know? Yeah, you have to think on the fly when fighting enemies. The most fun is when the game gives you like a whole bunch of dudes. Have fun. It's like, oh god. It almost reminds me of like
So like, but that's the thing, like Max says there's a whole bunch of dudes being released. But by a whole bunch, it does sound like it's gonna grow to more than just 2 enemies at a time. Because 2 enemies at a time is something that the demo is gonna let you like test out, but that's not all it's gonna do.
like a very Capcom-y version of like in a loose way, like Doom, you know, where the game is like, hey, so here's all these like weird combat puzzles, all crammed into a room. Have fun. What do I do? Here's some weapons. Then they have limited ammo. Have fun. Go crazy.
So he switched between the grip gun and the shockwave. There's a chance maybe shockwave. Some other specialty guns have limited ammo, so he has to pick it up along the way. That's why back here, he could have picked up a gun.
In a loose way, like Doom.
But he
you know?
can't wait. What? Because that it said
It almost
something.
reminds me of like a very Capcom-y version of like in a loose way, like Doom.
The gun cannot be the ammo type, or the gun can't be obtained because ammo's full. Okay, so that means you have to go through the map several times, and that several times means you only have a set amount of like special ammo, special gun ammo, but then the grip gun is always regenerative.
You know, where the game is like, hey, so here's all these like weird combat puzzles, all crammed into a room. Have fun. What do I do? Here's some weapons. Then they have limited ammo. Have fun. Go crazy.
In this case, I would have just like kept using. I would have used a few of the shockwave gun ammo, run back to get the ammo that's already there, I think. Because I don't know how frequently I will rerun this area. So what I mean is, like, in that instance, I would have, like, reloaded all the shockwave gun ammo as I could have done, run over there, fight the next battle, run back to, like, restock on ammo, I think. In my opinion, but hard to say it, because I wasn't there.
Did the combat get really challenging at some points?
Because here, in this case, he's trying to get through the demo even faster, because he's trying to, like, speed run it for how fun it is. Because of how fun it is.
To a degree. It is to a degree, but not like a ton, because this is, once again, just the very beginning of the game.
Shoot it.
So again, of like all the games I was the most impressed by at Summer Games Fest at Capcom, and at that time I played Resident Evil Requiem, and I had also seen Onimusha, and then I played Pragmata. It's the same thing again. I pretty much had the most fun with this demo of all of them. Pretty much had the most fun with this demo specifically, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Yeah, I found the illusory wall. I don't know if I did it in this one.
Just as fun.
It was the same. It was in the same spot. I had the most fun playing this game. Oh, here's a secret. I think I go to it over here. There's like a weird corner you can go into.
Okay. Interesting. Wait, that had
you can go down this hallway. There's a bunch of secret shit.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of like little things like that that are just off the beaten path a little bit.
Okay, hacking node. Wait, what?
So there's a lot of like little things like that that are just off the beaten path.
Hacking nodes possess special effects that can be activated by moving cursor through them. Passing through multiple nodes of the same type will increase the effectiveness. These nodes can only be used a limited number of times. So that means the yellow ones are like special nodes. So they can be. That's why there's 3. You can only pass through this type 3 separate times. Otherwise, you're out of it. You have to collect more of these nodes to then use it again. But like passing through multiple nodes of the same will increase the effectiveness. Well, in this case, you pass through the node twice, you increase the duration of the weakness available. That's cool.
A little bit. And now the hacking.
Especially know that temporarily lowers. In this case, the yellow one's called decode. Lowers defense. That makes sense.
Escalates a little bit. Now it's not the same. Now they're going to give you incentives on the grid, which are like bonuses if you go through them as well. So now there's like a risk reward. Do I take the longer route on the grid when I'm hacking, or do I just go straight for it? You know, which is pretty neat.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
There was no melee weapons when we played. No.
And that looks like currency.
It was all like guns. There's stasis guns and shotguns and your basic gun, that kind of stuff. It's video gamey AF, bro. It is super video gamey. And like I said, what I like about it especially is that it's like an indie game. You know, like this is the concept of this, of how you play it, is very much like, it's super unique.
Oh, new gun, stasis net. Hinders movements. Shoot expands from the point of impact, stunning enemies in the radius. This unit breaks when it breaks. So that means, that explains why you can just collect guns as you go, because all the guns constantly break. So, unless you save the ammo so you shoot the gun until there's one left. You find a new one, you reload, and so it never dies. That's the tactic, apparently.
It's like what an indie dev would come up with, you know? And you would play it, it'd be like $15 on Steam or something like that. But instead, it's like an indie game concept wrapped up in a giant AAA, like gorgeous-ass Capcom package and shit.
That is pretty
So it's like,
cool.
oh, okay. So I think I really appreciate that about it. Indie game with like a $50 million development. Yeah, exactly.
With a $50 million
That's really
development.
probably the best compliment
That's
I can give this
pretty dope. Oh, you didn't restock, did you? And you got 3 defense downs.
So like Kunitsugami, I think it's probably a little bit bigger, but I do feel that this game is probably like Kunitsugami-like, right? Path of the Goddess is definitely Exoprimal-like. So here's an example of some crazy puzzling.
Yeah, so not only you have defense down, but the weaknesses are now open for 3 durations.
Guys, super stasis. I missed that this dude fell in here. Trying to hack him at the same time.
Yeah, he's limiting his use of the ammo
Very
because the
satisfying
gun
to shoot things.
breaks when it's depleted.
Emergency lockdown for all on-site locations has been disabled. Please complete a manual reboot of the power plant controller to fully restore operations.
But like Exoprimal and Kunitsugami, very unique games with like different ideas.
Yeah, Exoprimal, it was very fun when I had the chance to play it. Kijitsugami, I think I can through Game Pass.
Right? Like they're
I
really
think I have a
this is me
chance to
playing
still
them.
do it.
Like they're really trying to
Still
go
play
for
it.
something different. And this is the same, where it feels like in that respect, like this is one of Capcom's like offshoot games that isn't a big Onimusha or a Resident Evil or something crazy like that. Like it's trying to do something a bit different.
Imagine being
I don't want to imagine. I want to go back and watch Maximilian talk about games. What do you mean I want to imagine? I don't want to imagine anything. I want to imagine none.
And I think of all of them, of the
Oh,
Kunitsu.
okay, so you walk through that. You have a maximum of 3 you can hold at a single time. Okay.
Exoprimal, and Returnal. I'm sorry, and Pragmata. I think I like Pragmata the most. I think Pragmata's like gimmick of what it's setting up for grabs me the quickest, other than like Exoprimal with shoving dinosaurs to you all over the place, and you know Kunitsugami being like a weird strategy game. I think this one it grabs me the most immediately.
Stasis gun ammo.
But again, it feels like a weird PS2 era Capcom game. And the game I compared it the most to is a weird PS2 era Capcom game, even though it didn't come out on PS2, which is Piano 3. But there's a lot of stuff in this game that is very Piano 3-like to me, outside of the Wiggling Girl.
Never
part,
played piano.
There's a bunch of enemies.
Now there's
that cover
3
and
enemies
shit, right?
here. Okay, so that other review we just saw, complete lies. IGN, false advertisement, complete lies. 2 enemies at a time, BS. Here is an instance of 3. Oh god, you could have done.
So,
oh, dodge.
it also has Witch Time.
Which
I don't think I solved this puzzle here. Oh, I did, but I dodged right at the right time. So if you do, there's like just dodges. So if you hit like the dodge parry or the dodge timing right at the right time, it's got like a Witch Time.
Okay, that's really cool.
Is there a boss fight? Yes, there is. You actually get to fight the boss. It's working.
Yeah, so like that's the thing, because like he ran down to 0 ammo, refills up over time. He had the opportunity to switch particular guns, but again, if you use up the gun ammo, the gun is destroyed, so you have to go find a new gun in the world.
And it just feels so good just to go from one thing to the next to the next. Bam, 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 solve all these puzzles, bam, 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 solve the area puzzle, bam, 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 run, run, run. It definitely gives you that kind of feel that I want to do this quick, you know?
All right, we made it. Now where do we find the main power terminal?
New stasis gun?
No, you have to hack the dudes to expose the damage points.
Yeah, see, so like there's guns like laying around for some reason at a space station, and hell yeah.
It's your choice how much you want to hack them. It's up to you.
Or how often, yeah.
Here's the boss fight.
Hey, buddy. Oh, God.
And yeah, it's like
You
now he
can barely
forces
have
you. He's
time
gonna be
to
constantly
hack.
running at your ass. And now there's like hazards in the grid. So if you hit one of these on accident, it's over, and you lose
Yeah,
the hack. You have to re-engage the
A
hack and
red
stuff
means
like
you
that.
probably shouldn't touch it.
It's brain training, yep. Now you have to make the choice: do I dodge or do I hack? Like, this is kind of the gameplay loop now. Oh god, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the hack. I don't know how to get out. my brain is doing too much shit. So here's the stasis gun. You can hack the enemy and then lock them in stasis.
That's pretty good. What does the purple mean? Overheat.
And then once you like stun them, you get a big contextual beat them up.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Uh-oh, missiles.
And there's a devil trigger.
Devil trigger.
He has like a big devil trigger that like the screen clears for you in case you're like truly up shit's creek. So this is when that's introduced. Again, why did I jive with this so much? Because like as you play through it, the game is just like, oh, here's one thing, here's another thing, here's a thing on top of that thing, here's another thing, on that thing. Here's another thing on top of that thing, here's a new thing on top of that thing. Here's like, whoa, like every single time I did something like and get to a new area, it was just amplifying and amplifying and doing something new, something new, something new, like the entire time. It was super fun.
ADHD.
Like again, it was tickling the shit out of my
So
brain.
like, okay, now the gun's broken.
So I did a quick hack here, right? If you go back and you look, I just went down to the right to there. So he's not going to be exposed for very long. And again, hacking the opponents, the monsters and stuff, does not guarantee that they get stunned. They just expose their weak points. They'll keep attacking you.
The healing unit. There we go.
I think that might be it. I think if you do the full grid, yeah, because I also did this one, and then it stunned them, you know? So I think you might need one of these or something, because these have different effects if you complete the hack with it.
Right.
You get more damage if you get all the hacks. That makes sense.
Or you can be... I wonder if you can be also Mega Brain, and just, if you use up the entire grid, is there a bonus? I don't know if there is an entire bonus if you just use the entire grid. Hard to say.
Music's cool too.
Nice.
Same old phone?
I don't need to know about this Samsung Galaxy.
Alright, come with me.
I don't want to come with you. I don't care if I eat your overnight oats. It doesn't change the fact that I want to go back here.
This cool ass background.
Ooh, you get the mirror. Oh, that's the Stacy's gun.
Ugh. Yeah, and actually the hack itself did damage.
Okay, that's real cool. Diana did it. Nice. Real cool, Diana. Good job.
Then you collect a bunch of like loot from them, just like Lost Planet. Anyway, I legit hate to say it. I clowned on this game for so long, and in the same, I would say, era and session of games like a new Onimusha and a brand new Resident Evil, the game I liked the most was this one. The game I was having the most fun with in this very specific, very limited demo setting was this one. This game was a running, the word pragmata was
a
banned
running joke
in my chat for over a year because I refused to acknowledge that you guys like something that you just made up. You guys like something that you don't even know what it is. It's not even a real game. It was 5 years of me just making fun of this shit, and it ends up being one of the most fun. It's so crazy, dude. I'm owning up to it now. I said it before. It blew my mind. I cannot believe I like it. I can't. Like so many of the Capcom guys were there and knew how I felt about it, and they're like, well, like.
And now he gets to come to PAX West and talk about it, and he gets he also set up a thing to where he can do autographs at the same time, but like the Gigabrain the Gigabrain idea of like looking at Max and telling him, say, hey, you've been clowning on it, now you enjoy it. Do you want to talk about it?
It's finally here, and I'm like, yeah, we'll see what it's like. I was like, going into this thing at Summer Games, I'm like, here we go. And then I walk out, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, so what'd you think? And I'm like, they're like, he likes it. I'm like, God damn it, why?
And now he gets to talk about it at PAX West.
Hell, he likes it. I'm like, oh no.
And that's like really funny in terms of like the magic of like all this is the fact that he hated it, he didn't like it, and then now he gets a chance to like to like, hey, promote it. He gets to be used. The guy who's been joking about it gets to promote it. That's the funniest bit. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, he also has a hands-on preview and gameplay of it too. So let's look at this. Let's go not yet, because let's see what this other one is. Oh, that's right. I also wanted to look at the Rogue Ally, because hold on, I'm waiting for myself to be able to skip it. So there is more news about the Rogue Ally, and I've been like on board with it, but the problem, the biggest problem that it has, just like anything in the world, is the price for admission is up to $700, and it'll gatekeep a lot of people, but this has so much to offer at the same time.
Welcome to Gamescom. We're here at the Asus booth to talk to Galip Fu about the new Xbox Ally consoles. We're super excited to learn more about them. So could you just explain what are the two models and how are they different? Who are they intended to be used for?
Yeah.
So honestly, that's a good question, because the Rogue Ally, the Rogue Xbox Ally, and the and the Xbox Rogue Ally X, it feels. I wonder if it's depending on like, they're both basically PC replacements, because one of them is a little over 2 times the price of a graphics card, and the other one is basically a standard like basic computer.
Thanks, Will.
So this time together with Xbox, then we're launching two very good models. And the first one is the white one. It's called the RG Xbox A-Line. It's the base model, offer immersive 720p gaming experience for most of the game titles.
Yeah, 720p is not a bad thing to go on because a lot of my games I play on 720p mostly because of like my current setup. Like if I had, like I'm pretty sure if I get more RAM, that'll improve the stream a lot better and allow me to do a different like ratio. But 7p is still really good quality to receive.
And the other one is the premium model, the black one, the RG Xbox A-Line X. So it basically offers a superior gaming experience for all the AAA titles in 1080p quality and also a long battery life. So
okay, but like that's battery life is subjective just because it really depends on your lifestyle. How long you're on your handheld device is really depending on your lifestyle, because if you don't have a lifestyle where you have the luxury of a computer with you, then you're only ever going to be on that handheld when you're like in bed with your partner or your family, or like at the living room, or if you're going on like transits. During transit, probably great, but like how long of a battery life is subjected to.
Together with both models, then we're trying to penetrate into more of the console part of the market, and also the our strength where is the PC gamer part of the market. And right now, I think based on all the feedback and also the reaction, from the media friends and also the users, we believe that this will be something that definitely people will love to purchase in the house.
What I want this to do is beat out Nintendo, most partly because of like there's storage, there's 16 gigabytes of memory versus 24 gigabytes of memory, so in terms of like processing maybe, but the storage, because like 16 gigabytes of memory would definitely affect how the game plays. It's like asking you to buy like one type of graphics card right here versus the other. They both hold different types of graphics cards. One's definitely stronger over here, but 512 gigs of storage is enough for most games that you play at one time, or like multiple times at a time. Yeah.
This season.
The new models being as more an upgrade option for people that have already got a PC handheld.
What was that?
You see it more as something that's exposing to a whole new market and trying to really expand the number of people that...
I want this to beat out Nintendo. I want this to beat out mobile gaming, because mobile gaming is... I'm happy mobile gaming is here, but I want games to return to the lifestyle, to the function of a separate device. I want gaming to return to separate devices like a handheld console or a at-home PC. I want games to return there. Mobile gaming on the phone or iPad has been a curse, in my opinion. I've been thankful for it on separate occasions, but ultimately I want gaming to return to like mobile games like the Switch, to console games like the Switch. I have a Switch. I only bought the Switch. I had no intention of buying a Switch. I only bought a Switch because my brother got me Pokemon. And then I emotionally felt bad to where, dude, I can't play the game that you gave me. I guess I'll buy a Switch because you gave me a Pokemon game to play it for. So like that was the thing. But like nowadays, I don't plan on getting a PlayStation. I don't plan on getting a Switch 2 unless I'm entrapped. That's a wrong way of using entrapment. But unless I feel unless someone guilt trips me by buying me a Switch 2 game. Even then, it's like currently hard to buy Switch 2 as it is, but I want gaming to move away from tablets, and I want mobile gaming moved away. I want portable games moved away from phones, because I've seen that lifestyle affect families, and I've seen the news about it too. So that's my personal opinion. Gaming on phones and gaming on tablet devices should move back to traditional portable consoles like the Game Boy SP, like the Nintendo Switch, just like PC gaming and now the Rogue Ally is a separate device that is not your phone?
Consider these devices.
Yeah, I think, that's a very good question. I think it's both because I think first starting from the hardware perspective, and as we ROG, as the hardware expert in PC gaming, of course, in terms of the hardware part, we also
Okay, and you can also connect your device onto like a monitor. That's really cool. I wonder if there's a way to like connect your Rogue Ally into like an Elgato of some type into your computer, or could it natively record from your your Rogue Ally into your computer with no adapter like a Elgato required?
do some good upgrade. I think the first part that you definitely can feel is about the overall ergonomics of the device that inspired by the Xbox controller. So this time, for our design of the holding, then
I do have an issue to where I personally might have a problem to where I may instinctively keep looking up and down between the monitor and my handheld. So like me looking up and down constantly might distract me, but that's part of the challenge.
Intuitively, you can feel this is just like an authentic Xbox experience. So the feel is so good and even better than our previous model, even though based on the community feedback, our ergonomic design of the previous model already good, but this one will make it even better. And some of the design details will also make it more exquisite, and I think that'll be also appealing to most of the gamer.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense because in the video that we watched yesterday, they discussed how it was a lot harder. It was a lot more nuanced than just cutting Xbox controller in half and putting a screen there, because that's what Nintendo did. That's what PlayStation did with the PS. What is it? The PlayStation Portal was exactly that. The PlayStation Portal was essentially a PlayStation controller cut in half, and then you played with the game. So, but when they designed the Rogue Xbox Ally, they changed the format to where if you have a controller like this, your elbows will flare out, both the way that it's made. Now they discussed how it makes it more natural in a very like anti-phone kind of way. And I'm anti-phone sometimes. It forces you to curl your elbows in when you play it for more ergonomics, and that's really fun. When I get the chance to hold it, I'm gonna find out myself. Oh shit.
Yeah, and on the other hand, I think overall gaming experience, and that is what Xbox they are good at, right? So we're working closely, we're working very hard, try to get the authentic Xbox experience onto the device. So everything starting from the user interface and how you choose to launch the game in the library, and for the game experience, it is 100% Xbox experience. So if we combine two together, then it's like the unicorn in the market. It's something that I think if we compare with the current landscape of the PC handheld gaming market, we're doing something really different, totally different, and we believe that this will be something that everyone should get their hands-on to experience in Gamescom. Yeah.
You mentioned the ergonomics before.
Yeah.
Is there anything inside the processor that would require more cooling, anything like that, or is it more just a refinement of the ergonomics purely from a user experience point of view?
Yeah, so I think for this part of design changes, it's basically mainly because of the reason I just mentioned. We want to offer an even better ergonomics. So just imagine, it's like we split the Xbox controller into two halves and then combine it into a PC game handheld. And then for the controller itself, it is thicker by nature because it is more comfortable to hold. So that is the main reason why I think the overall thickness increased a little bit.
Yeah, because like it's a lot more. It's a lot simpler. It's a lot more like nuanced than just cutting this controller in half. They broke it apart, yes, to where, and then they made it more ergonomic to where it's more comfortable to hold. So I want to experience that if I get a chance to go to PAX this year.
But not the weight, actually. So when you hold it, I think you just experienced that earlier, right? So when you hold it, it feels just so good. So actually, you don't feel, it's just several millimeters thicker.
The question will be like how many kilos it'll weigh. So like when you hold it, I wonder like what position will the console force you to hold the device to make it comfortable? That's a question that everyone has in mind.
But actually, also based on
Dead by
our
Daylight.
study and also our discussion with the community,
No, never mind.
it doesn't that matter. It doesn't matter that much, you know, for those several millimeter thickness if the overall ergonomic is to another level.
Sure. Right.
So that is our direction in improving, you know, the overall hardware and also the ergonomic experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
And is this model faster than the previous Ally X? And if so, about how much? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, I would say we are still working very hard, you know, with Xbox team to optimize.
Because right now, from based on earlier, the difference in memory is between 16 and 24. So my easiest comparison is the change between one graphics card and another, and its ability to process whatever game you're playing.
Everything, right? No matter the software experience, the gaming experience, the hardware experience. So I think for the precise figures or numbers, you know, that is something that later on, you know, just stay tuned with us. Later on, that we will just give a very clear projection, you know, to the public, so everyone will know the
Silk Song, baby!
You know, from
Silk
the
Song,
previous
baby!
generation. But as of now, we focus more on the gaming experience. So right now, just like what you have experience on the base model and also the premium model, I think in terms of the pure gaming experience, let's forget about those frame rate or some other part of, you know, benchmark. If when we are thinking about the from the PC gaming mindset, you know, we're offering right now at this stage that everyone can just experience by themselves an authentic and very good gaming experience.
All right, fascinating stuff. So thanks very much for joining us, and stick with us for more Gamescom 2025 coverage as it occurs.
That is a very good insight. This guy, I want him to talk more. This guy, I promote so much. This guy's really good. I think we have another video like that. So let's see, where is it? Official. That's really good. Okay, I think that's a really good opinion. All right, let's go over here. Let's see if we can't find more Rogue Ally stuff. Here it is.
This is gonna be awesome.
Oh, this is the video? Okay. Never mind. That's like, the video is literally 30 seconds? That's, never mind. Okay, my mistake. There's gotta be more somewhere. I think I watched that other video that I was thinking of, so that's fine then. Okay, cool. Let's check out their opinion, and then and then okay. What else we got here? So I'm really excited to see more Resident Evil. So let's go ahead. So let's go ahead and see what IGN has to say about Resident Evil take Stalkers to the next level. I don't remember if I've seen this video already, but we're going to be watching Max right after this to see his hands-on impressions, which is going to be really fun.
We're here at Gamescom 2025. More specifically, we're in
Okay. I don't like Dale quite yet. Matt, I enjoy.
of a dilapidated RPD station, which can only mean one thing. We're talking about Resident Evil Requiem. Myself and Matt here, we've managed to play a small dose of it, just a very small, like 15 to 20 minute section of it.
15,
Matt,
20
what did
minutes,
you think?
okay.
So this demo was entirely about one thing, and that was getting away from a brand new Stalker enemy. We've had the likes of Jack Baker, we've had the likes of Lady Dimitrescu. Now,
This, again, like, I have a firm feeling, and I will be proven wrong, but I have a firm feeling that this is basically, this is Lisa Trevor, because we don't know what happens to her after because, like, my understanding, if I remember in the back of my head, I remember fighting against Lisa Trevor, she fell down a hole, and there's no confirmation of an actual dead body, so she's been in the shadows for the longest times, for as far as we know, because let's ask Google, was Lisa Trevor ever confirmed dead? Lisa Trevor is not, allegedly, according to a few articles, her death is implied but not confirmed. So Lisa Trevor is not officially confirmed dead, as while it's heavily implied she died during the Spencer Mansion self-destruction because everything blew up, but at the same time you can never say for sure, like in most franchises. Trust but verify. Her survival is considered possible due to her regenerative abilities, and a theoretical reappearance in the unreleased Resident Evil Requiem has been speculated. She was last seen during the Mansion incident of 1998, but the explosion should have been fatal, though remains are left ambiguous. Is one of the most debated topics among fans due to her survival capabilities. Lisa's regenerative powers and resilience to the T-virus are key factors in the uncertainty of her death, making survival a theoretical possibility. So yeah, theoretically, it'd be possible for her to survive.
Well, I don't even really know what she's called, but she is this horrendous... Imagine if Gollum had been injected with Bane's serum and turned into a huge, hulking creature that can decapitate with its own teeth. That is what we had to run away from in this small section of a hospital.
Yeah.
But at the same time, during Lisa Trevor's entrapment... during Lisa Trevor's... what is the word? Imprisonment at the Spencer Mansion. We don't exactly know what she looks like, because she was in a gown, she had chains, her face was covered, but we don't actually know her face, so maybe.
It's and you say small section, it's a very small section. It's like one long hallway and then a couple of rooms, not really much room to outrun like a lumbering stalker. Like, she can barely fit in the space as well. Like, she's hunchback, she's like squeezing through these environments, and you can hear her shambling the entire time. But
also, you forgot that Ashley, Grace Ashford, is a small girl, so anything taller than her will be ginormic to Grace Ashford.
It felt like a little bit of a fresh take on a stalker to me. Like, do you agree?
Yeah, I think whereas kind of like, for example, Lady Dimitrescu, I guess the most recent one that we've had, the way that she followed you around kind of like the castle in Resident Evil Village was fairly standard, like she ran behind you, whereas this, I think there's almost a little bit more of something like Alien Isolation in there. The stalker is able to kind of go up into the roof space and crawl across and cut you off in areas. It also has kind of the elements...
And it's definitely a lot... They don't mention how it's a lot different than Mr. X, because Mr. X can only... As far as we know, we've never seen Mr. X run. So he's only been a walking stalker, and he never opens doors for some reason, even though he actually can.
The Jack Baker had, where she can burst through doors, which creates new routes that you can loop around. But yeah, it does feel like genuinely like this is a step up. This is the next way of making the Mr. X kind of theory even more sort of like terrifying, even more inventive in the way that it forces you to think about it.
It adds on to the horror that was Mr. X, that was Lady Dimitrescu.
At the space.
Oh, that is a dead body.
I mean, interestingly, you mentioned about bursting through the door there, but we both played the game and we both saw like different versions of that. So for me, it was very much a Jack Baker. I came out and burst through, but for you, you decided to take.
But Jack Baker, I think walks as well. I don't remember Jack Baker ever running when he was chasing you.
Different routes, and that didn't necessarily happen organically like it did for me.
Yeah, I think basically there are definitely trigger points, I think, for the Stalker to be able to do.
Yeah, because like that trigger points is a good way to say it, because if I remember correctly, whenever you were chased by Nemesis or Trevor Baker, there was definitely instances to where you could not escape, where it was scripted. There were scripted scenes to where they would come and get you.
Certain things. But if you don't pass that trigger point and you move around the environment in a different way, then suddenly things aren't happening, which doesn't unlock routes for you. So like you say, if you walk down that...
Oh yeah, that's right. There's definitely certain points within Raccoon City in 2 Remake to where if you don't kite Mr. X in a certain way, some areas of the police station are inaccessible. So you won't be able to access certain spots without kiting the horror there.
Corridor, and she burst through the door. Suddenly you've created a loop between a room and a corridor. Well, I moved a different way, and that route didn't exist for me, which meant that ultimately I actually got trapped by the Stalker and had to find a different way out because I was really up against the wall. I'd not got that door to escape through.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of like seeing how that Stalker, particularly presuming we get her in a larger environment than we did in this demo, I think there will be like lots of interesting kind of challenges for you to face because of the way it works with the environment.
Yeah, it's really interesting. One of my favorite touches of the new Stalker, though, what we've seen, is that she reacts to light. Like light burns her skin, and
like it sounds like it from the previous trailer we've seen. It looks like what is it? Like LED light in a certain way.
I think they've really used this in a clever way to abolish one of the stranger things about a Stalker in previous games. So you might have seen memes of Mr. X trying to come into your safe room and peeking his head in, but then all of a sudden decides, oh no, I can't go in that room. Well, now they've found like a law, like an actual logic reason. If she comes into a room with a bright like room light, her skin will burn and she'll retreat. And it's just those little touches that make it feel like potentially this could be a Stalker of the ages.
Yeah, definitely. But the other thing is whereas this demo didn't have like a classic safe room, right? It had rooms with the big lights on that you knew would be safe, but sometimes it'll pull a trick on you where you go into that room and the light smashed out, and suddenly it's like the place that you thought was safe.
Well, that makes a lot of sense though, because my impression is that these rooms are safe, but then you're also running the risk of overloading the circuitry. So that makes a particular room unsafe for a certain time, in my impression.
Place where you thought, I'll get like 2 or 3 seconds to just get away from this creature, rethink what my plan is, suddenly that room is no longer safe. Yeah. And I think that, like, playing with your expectations, a lot like Resi has done all the way through its history, particularly with the remakes, is use your expectations and then pull the carpet from under you. I think it does that very well.
Owie!
Yeah, so interestingly, the rest of the demo, there was a lot of things that felt very familiar. There was a lot of collecting keys for doors. There was all sorts of that stuff. But one thing that was quite unique, well, at least for a release Resident Evil, is that you could play it in either first or third person. You could just go into the menu and switch it any time you wish. Which way did you prefer?
So I'm actually a real big fan of like Resi's pivot into first person. That's I found really increased the fear aspects, and so I played the demo all the way through in first person.
Absolutely.
And that definitely really worked for me because it really narrows kind of like your vision, and that creates very bespoke kind of like created scares. There's a moment where you go into a room and you're trying to push a cart around and bits are falling off the cart, and as you do that, because of the way your frame of vision is like honed, you see like the shadow of this creature walking past the window. And when I replay the demo with kind of like in third person and play through that section again, I didn't quite get the same scare because the way
that's right, because you can see it happening but you're not seeing her perspective.
The angle is opened up, and really where Grace is in the frame covered that up. Yeah. However, you do get benefits for playing in third person. Dale, I know that you played a lot more of the demo in third person than me, and you were talking about the bespoke animations that has.
Yeah, so I mean, in all honesty, I prefer first person for these as well. However, I really wanted to see what it was like in third person, and when we were looking back and comparing what we did, we noticed that the third person has very bespoke animations. Very specifically, when you're in first person, you're running away. It's just you're beelining down a corridor. But when you're in third person, Grace sometimes will trip and stumble and fall, and I feel like that was a really clever way of adding some horror elements, making you a bit scared. I think there's something, when the threat is so looming in first person, it feels way more intimidating. So third person inherently can feel a little less scary. However, I think tripping and falling is an excellent example of how they've really thought about how do we make it scary in third person as well.
Yeah. It adds on to it. It's like if you're in third person, it may make the horror less horrific, but it'll build on suspense to where it'll add in-game like jank to where, oh, how did you manage to trip? And when I play in first person, you didn't trip. But third person, how did you trip over nothing? And like, I'm gonna die because you somehow tripped over nothing. That's the way it adds on to it, and I like it.
Which I really appreciate.
I think the other thing that was really cool is the fact that it's not just that third person is kind of an option, like it was when they added it into Resident Evil Village. It kind of felt like it was there as a concession. Now it's definitely woven in those two viewpoints, and so there are cutscenes where the camera will go into the back of Grace's head and do things in first person, but there are also cutscenes that are bespokely made to be in third person. It feels like it's a really coherent package this time around.
Absolutely, and I hope we get to see tons more of that in the final game when it comes out in 2026. But for everything else, all Capcom games are Resident Evil. Let's keep watching at Gamescom 2020.
I would like to keep watching because that was actually a nice way of them like presenting it. However, Maximilian, my guy,
You've got smoke-free satisfaction.
just the idea of like a new perspective change is really good. I like the idea that they're challenging what's currently the status quo, and being able to just change perspectives and to add consequences to the perspective change is really fun.
Gamescom build of RE. So, Gamescom build of RE9, we got to play it, and the most important aspect is that it is the first time the game is publicly playable. A lot of people have gotten their impressions. The negative is that it's the thing I already played. It was a little bit more polished, it was a little bit better. What I'm going to explain to you and what we're going to show off is my gameplay footage of me playing Requiem, but it's pretty much the exact same thing. So for anybody that's expecting Jill to drop in with a rocket launcher on the back of Nemesis to high-five Leon as they twerk on Jack Baker, probably not going to happen. It's pretty much the same thing of like Grace Ashcroft like waking up in this weird derelict crazy place. So there's no crazy additional characters or anything like that. Like, this is the weird spooky RE9 that they're setting up for right now. And I will say personally, it does feel like there is going to be more to this, because the way the game starts, which is seemingly this, is very unique. And it would be surprising if like the whole game was this way. To me, that would be surprising, but at least I get to show you. Again, the game that I compared this the most to was Alien Isolation. This experience was very Alien Isolation-like. So I switch between first and third person every once in a while during this.
That makes a lot of sense though, because like I feel that the feeling of Alien Isolation comes from the aspect of like, oh, this is a character who's not a action hero. This is a scared girl. This is a character who is a lot more fearful of things like of the horrors like this.
But yeah, this is my Resident Evil Requiem gameplay. I'm gonna pause it
just because, like, again, like, this is a whole thing to where I feel like the comparison is because her experience within these horrors comes from a place of trauma, where when we played Resident Evil 2, when we played previous series, they come from a reaction to fight when it comes to like confrontation. She is traumatized and she innately goes to a flight response. She has not developed a flight response quite yet at this time, much like in how when we played Ethan in Resident Evil 7, he had a reactive flight response until he had a gun, until he developed the courage to fight back in a fight or flight scenario.
Notifications for now. Thank you, Moon. I think visually the game looks friggin' nuts, man. Like, it looks so good. This is sort of a long cutscene at the start, so I want to get into some gameplay stuff and talk to you all about it. If you want to be freaked out by this, I'm pretty sure this has already been shown on some other channels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. She eventually gets out of here. She wakes up in a place like never seen before. This was running on a PS5, and it looked really
crazy.
Good. It looked really good.
That's real crazy.
So, yeah, you just sort of like wake up in here and just start perusing around. Third person's neat, but I honestly felt that this game or this sequence ran particularly better in first person. I think it felt like this was more intended for a first person experience.
I can see where that's coming from, just because there's an idea. There was an idea that was had where because like it's bringing into perspective from the very beginning. Perspective is girl is scared to tits, and her mom just got unalived in front of her in the last trailer we had, and this is a person who has no bearings of what a fight response looks like. She has not been trained. She's been racked in like fear from since then, and this is how we're gonna go through the game and how she would respond with this kind of response.
Dark, man. Like it's really dark.
I'm gonna need to up. I might need to. I am a brightness player because I feel like I can't play if it's too dark. Another friend of mine, Shrunken, like another guy. We haven't talked in a while. I keep trying to talk to him, but he never responds. He's very colorblind, and when he played Code Veronica, it was so dark that he couldn't play. So we need brightness and gamma up to the max. Oh, that broke.
And yeah, they're just going, this is mega spooky atmosphere, dude.
Oh god, like the lights aren't working.
Power radius of just like
the rating of particular weapons. Okay.
House of the Dead too dark, you know.
No, that works. House of the Dead.
I think the lighting is very impressive. If there's one thing that keeps getting better and better,
definitely sets the mood
about the RE engine is the fact that the lighting is really good.
It sets the mood, and I thoroughly enjoy the mood setting.
Smash it with a bottle.
That might work, but I think because if it's gameplay, then I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit because of gameplay. So we need to go find.
And you walk around, you do some Resident Evil in.
Mm-hmm.
You
what
find
is that?
some
Another
stuff,
bottle?
You know, it's an impressive hallway. You find a lighter. I think at this point, I actually changed it back to first person, which you can do on the fly.
Mm-hmm. That's real good.
Which is sick.
I will say that if you switch to first person, it may make certain interactions like the combat of throwing and shooting a lot better, in my opinion.
Right, which is sick. It was spooky. No, I'll give it credit. Like, so the first time I played
this will make it even. I will say this is spookier because this brings back the perspective from Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 8, it was a mixed perspective because you were given a gun from the very beginning. Once you got into the village, where in the first game you're still scared shitless. You know that anything that you do won't save you until you get a weapon. Well, I guess the first weapon you get is a knife, and then that's how you fight. But then I think after you get after your wife dies, after you kill your wife with a chainsaw, I think there's a certain point before you get weapons again, because like you get weapons briefly. Baker knocks you over the head. That's when you officially die, I think. And then you get into a situation where you wake up at the dinner table, and from the dinner table you are in a period of where you have no weapons to like protect yourself with.
Games Fest, and it was legit scary. Like, there was moments where I was like looking at the dev who was with me, and I'm like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go in there, dude.
That's real cool. That's real funny.
Like RE7 scary? I mean,
oh,
kinda, yeah.
Yeah. He admits it. I don't care about your secret labs, Titan. I don't care about your secret labs, man.
Kinda, yeah. This is funny. This is really funny to me.
He's dead.
No shit.
No shit.
No shit.
It's like coming out of nowhere.
Pretty good and spooky.
She's stiffing you up. You gotta run, buddy. Start running. What the fuck?
Look how creepy this thing looks, dude.
Like,
this is where I get very much like Alien Isolation vibes.
Don't come any closer!
Because there's just some places it won't go, and it jumps up into the vents just like Alien Isolation, dude. It's like.
My impression is that the reason why the lights will break later on, will turn off later on, is because Lisa Trevor climbed up to the ceiling, thinks to herself, Nah, bitch, I don't want these lights on top of me. I'm gonna run it around up here. Is that a circuitry? I'm gonna pull it. Is that another circuitry? I'm gonna pull it.
Like,
I'm gonna wreck it.
What the hell was that thing?
I'm like, this is just an isolation vent. Jeez.
It's just another vent.
No. The cutscenes play out as they normally do.
I wonder if there's specific cutscenes where it's forced to third person, maybe.
The fact that the game is like starting this way is pretty good. I'm curious, like, obviously how it evolves. Of all the Capcom games that are playable right now, I'm the most curious of how they evolve. That's the thing. I'm like genuinely wondering, so how does this escalate? Like, where does this go?
Yeah.
Like all this kind of stuff, you know?
I want to see how that happens.
This is not a demo that was different than the one I played. This was still the same one from like Summer Games Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Onimusha, it's the same thing with Pragmata. I'm really curious like how they evolve. And they really don't give you, like, all of the demos don't really give you much to mess with. If anything, Pragmata is the one that gives you the most.
Oh, did you just hear her them walk in?
Everything is so dark, brother.
Oh, it's so nothing in the drawers too.
See how to move this big thing.
Ooh, but in first person, it's a lot scarier too. Oh, there you are.
So creepy. It really reminds me of like the sequences when you go to House Bienvenido, the creepy baby house. Reminds me of that in Village, you know? Like a dedicated sequence of just like, you have to solve it. Like the puzzle is how do you get out of here while dealing with this thing, you know?
Uh-oh.
And you just have so little resources, it's mostly a puzzle game.
Are you gonna throw it at him?
That did not work.
There goes your shoulder.
That did not work.
That did not work at all, buddy.
Yeah, she's massive. Massive.
Just close the door. See what happens.
Was the lighter infinite? I think it was, yeah. Are they taking the RE7 route with this one? I mean, who knows? It's hard to tell if the whole game's gonna be like this. This has to be Lisa Trevor. I mean, that's the running theory.
Yeah, because
The running theory is that it is like Lisa Trevor. Skip forward a little bit.
Okay. Busting through like a boss.
Some big moments.
Boss.
You always kind of like run to this room to be safe, right? Because she's afraid of the dark, or afraid of the light. Are there any weapons? There's bullets, but there's no gun.
Seriously.
That means she can
too much
climb
and the light goes
down.
out. So now you've used this room as an escape too much. So
And
now the safe
it
room
does.
doesn't work anymore.
That's how it works. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Like, yeah, it'll either be you use the room too much, and then Lisa Trevor gets like smart and just cuts the circuitry from that room.
Bruh.
There she is. How did she even get there?
This is a huge thing. You know, I said it functions a bit better in first person than third. Which did you like better? For this sequence, I think it's better in first person. Because it's not super actiony. You're not like aiming everywhere and stuff. I think the third person, when you're having to like aim and pick targets and move around a whole bunch, I think that works way better in third person. So to me, it's like there were moments where the game actually recommends which way you play it, and I think the recommendation for this sequence was first person.
Do you get bit here? Okay.
Jesus Christ. Does the game tell you? I think it says recommended. Yeah. Excuse me.
Now you gotta follow her out? Jeez. That's gotta be suspect. Oh, there she is.
Oh God. I'm gonna light my hair on fire.
This bitch is on fire.
This thing sounds horrifying, dude.
Now you gotta run out of there.
Close the goddamn door. Close the goddamn door.
She doesn't believe in doors. Oh, now the light broke?
It's
okay,
very
cool.
well paced, you know? Why is she running so slow? Because she's not like a cop. She's a desk worker, you know?
Yeah.
She's like a normal chick. She has no experience.
Oh, hello.
Does this make you buy a Ridge Kit?
Jeez, man. Just like I'm gonna walk away in the moment the light goes off. Oh shit. Hey buddy. Run, you gotta go put away that. Oh god, that
Actually,
broke.
that's the end right there. We weren't able to show it, and much less we had to stop it there. So that was it. That was literally the only part of the game that was playable. And then after that, like, can't talk much about it, but it leads to, like, obviously the next part of the game. I'm just gonna stick with my presumption that this is obviously going to elevate. You know, there is bullets. There are things that you can find in this demo that are obvious that you can't use, but they're giving you teasers for other stuff. Resident Evil also has a history outside of like 7 and 8 to a certain extent. At the end, Chris shows up, right? Playing 2 characters. Like, that's a big part of Resident Evil games, is playing multiple scenarios at the same time. I still am under the impression that this game will not entirely be Grace Ashcroft navigating and becoming a one-woman army. I don't think
I don't. It'll be I feel like it will be the wrong direction if she becomes a one-woman army. I will say we still have Rose in the background as well. We still have Leon Kennedy in the background, because if Chris came in during 7 and 8, what keeps Claire or Leon from jumping in?
that's going to happen. I think there's likely going to be some other characters that will show up in the similar way that like Chris shows up at the end of RE8, but hopefully not for like just the end of the game, right? That Chris sequence is really cool, but it was always weird that like Joe Schmo Ethan becomes like gun kata guy by the end of those games, you know? That's always been funny to me that like the most Joe Schmo Ethan ends up becoming like this crazy dude doing all this crazy stuff by like the end of the game. Like,
yeah, because like between 7 and 8, he received some training from Chris.
Bam, 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 like John Wick cop, you know? It makes a lot of sense to me because this is impressive and it's really fun and it's good, but I don't know if I want the entire game to be like this, and it feels like they are specifically holding back. It feels like there is an intention to hold back what the rest of the game is, and they're being very coy, dude. Like, they're not answering any questions about anything, bro. They're not talking about when it's going down, like what time frame. All we know is that it is Raccoon City. Like, all the trailers and everything that has shown off so far is specifically keeping you in the dark about how the game is. And it's my presumption that at some point there's going to be like a big character reveal of some kind. Like, it really feels that way.
Mm-hmm. I think best case scenario, because it's less likely that Rose from 8 is going to come out in the open, but more likely Claire or Leon Kennedy, depending on how people feel about it. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm extremely excited for Requiem. I have the weekend off for that. Now let's see what other things I've had queued. I don't care about Amazon as much as people think. I swear. Asmongold, I know you liked it. I know you have things about it. Oh, just the game trailer alone? Okay, I've already watched it before. Omni-Man I'm not much into fighting games, so I'll pass on that. September 12th is when the game's gonna come out. That's a lot of I like the fact that there's that if it had to be commercials, it's game related.
Science. I have a proposition for you.
Never mind, that was not Borderlands. Never mind. Metal Eden. Yes, my constipation face is so big.
You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. Next month, the original looter shooter is back, here to tell us what fans have to look forward to in Borderlands 4.
Oh. I've played Borderlands 3 and 2. I never played 1. Maybe on a rainy day I'll play 1. But I haven't had much time to cover my experiences of Borderlands 4. But I think based on the last time I've covered it till now, I have impressions that this might be tying up loose ends from the Tales from the Borderlands, the first one, not the bad one. And we have one of them being from Malawan, one of them being like an associate of Zane's. Who knows?
On IGN, next month, the original looter shooter is back, here to tell us what fans have to look forward to in Borderlands 4 is founder and president of Gearbox Software, Randy Pitchford. What's up, Randy?
Hey, we're at Gamescom. That's what's up.
That is it. Gamescom is what is up. Randy, Borderlands is almost here.
I know.
It's almost
I'm
here.
freaking out. I'm freaking out.
I bet. Now, I do have to put the screws to you for a little bit. 30 billion guns, that was all you guys could do this time around? Take it a little easy, right?
It's not about a number. Yeah, no, it's weird. You know, we've been making these Borderlands games. Some of the guys on the.
I will say, like, what's the title? New Tales from the Borderlands was not a well-received game. For some reason, IGN put it at 7 out of 10. But everybody knows it's a 5 out of 10, and you gotta turn your brain off about it. But ultimately, on Steam, there are mostly negative reviews for mostly obvious reasons. Game's so terrible, but I like Borderlands, so I play it anyways. Worst game ever played. More movie than game. If I had an expression of how horrific this game is, it's speechless. That is a good way of expressing how the last Borderlands title was. New Tales from Borderlands, not good.
Team and I have been working on Borderlands for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Starting to get pretty good at it. But we've got these systems that we've evolved, you know, that let us procedurally generate the weapons. And so we're not shooting for a particular number.
That didn't work out
with the guns.
Did
we
it?
came up with this pretty fun idea that we call licensed parts. So some of the manufacturers in this capitalist Borderlands world will license their technology to other manufacturers. So you can get TDR weapons that can have guns with legs, or Malleon weapons that have elemental effects, and those abilities can be licensed to the other manufacturers. So you might get, say, an Atlas weapon that's got all these other functions from the other man. It's really, really cool.
Okay, so they're combining. So that's actually pretty cool. There's more guns. We have 5. There's like 4 or 5 different producers, and they mixed. They finally mixed into each other. That's pretty cool.
Combinations, more possibilities for gameplay.
More time to grind and get that perfect weapon.
Well, that's the thing, right? Everyone's got for their build the perfect piece of loot they're after.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. That's really cool.
So, like we're talking about weapons, Borderlands is known for its guns. We've had guns that talk. We've had guns that walk. We've had guns that shoot poop, that shoot food. What's one of the really cool things we're getting Borderlands for?
You want the weird stuff?
Yeah, what's the weird? Let's go weird.
Fish grenades? I don't.
Fish grenades.
Are those fish that are grenades, or the grenades blow up into fish?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, crazy stuff. But you know, one of the things that I love is
you can throw the gun
grenades,
too.
We kind of recaptured the grenade button, and we now call that ordnance. So not only can you slot grenades in there, you can slot all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Massive miniguns and big rocket launchers, even like throwing.
Oh, that weapon right there was crazy. I don't know who she is,
never seen in a
or this person is.
Are now part of that.
This might be the Malawan one. That might be the Malawan one actually.
Oh, crazy stuff.
But
you know, one of the things that I love is speaking of grenades, we kind of recaptured the grenade button, and we now call that ordnance. So not only can you slot grenades in there, you can slot all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Massive miniguns and big rocket launchers.
See, that thing right there looks like a Malawan thing.
That ordnance. So not only can you slot grenades in there, you can slot all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Massive miniguns and big rocket.
So this function itself, it looks like something Moe's would do in the previous game, but it looks like like a little bit of a combination weapon that this dude or chick is doing. This is really cool.
Rocket launchers, even like throwing knives, all kinds of weird stuff that you've never seen, weapons you've never seen in a Borderlands game before, are now part of that, and they kind of work almost like a new action skill in addition to your hero
really
character's
cool.
action skills, which of course, there's a ton of those too.
So you have the ability to throw a grenade or an
No, it's very
ultimate.
cool. Like, I really love the idea that we're going to be able to really change our playstyle based on what ordnance we have set in that slot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and it's kind of like depending on what you slot into it. Like some people use it for things that can kind of get them out of a situation. I like to use it for things that are just, they're on cooldown, but when I press it, it's
This looks like this looks fun too. Hey dude. Blades. There's the new Siren. She can make clones of herself. Okay.
because I love feeling powerful. I just want to feel like a badass when I play Borderlands.
Go big or go home.
Right.
Speaking of badass, our badass rank's going to be returning in this round?
We got something along those lines.
Okay.
It's, we always
looks like the enemy is called the Seneschals. the Celestials, the Seneschals.
Push boundaries, and we
I
always
don't know.
try things. I think what we've got is an upgrade from that. But yeah, you know, there's with every Borderlands game, we've always teetered with different types of innovation. One of the cool things about having this be the fourth
That's
game is
healing.
we have now all kinds of places where we kind of, oh, that game we went too far here, or we went, you know, and now we kind of know where the bullseyes are.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've really kind of honed in on the best of the best. But some of the systems we love, we'll iterate, improve on, and tweak a little bit. And Badass Rank's one of those systems.
Nice. Now we've seen a few of our Vault Hunters in action. We've seen Vex, Rafa, and Amon, but we haven't seen Harlow. When's Harlow getting her time to shine with all her background?
You know
stuff?
what's funny about Harlow is I'm like right now I think she's my favorite Vault Hunter. So maybe we've been holding out, saving her for the end. But she's really awesome. I've been playing Harlow a lot lately. You know what's funny is when we started with Harlow, I think when we did our first introduction of all the 4 Vault Hunters, they all have
I have
different
to look
cosmetics
at
and
that.
different kinds of heads and skins. And there was a really nerdy head that was on her for that first appearance. And then I started playing her a lot. I'm like, dude, I'm a nerd. I don't want to have the nerd. I don't want to I want to play like the badass. So we kind of switched to one of the other heads and gave her these really cool glasses and messed with her look now is just fire. I love it. But she has awesome crowd control abilities, which chain together in really unique ways depending on how you build your skills out. So I've been having a lot of fun with her. It's weird because I was certain, earlier in development when I was spending most of my time with Vex that was going to be my character. But now I'm pretty sure it's gonna be
they
Harlow.
have legs.
I've been a Siren main every single Borderlands game, and I was like, but Harlow looks so cool.
If you like phase locking and that kind of crowd control gameplay, you're probably going to be a Harlow player.
Okay,
Yeah.
we actually have some Harlow gameplay up
hell
right
yeah.
now. So yeah, can you
this
like
is
just kind of
Harlow?
talk about some of the things that we're
Okay.
seeing the footage of this Harlow doing?
Oh yeah, so well right now we're actually in a run up to a boss fight, which is
Ooh,
a
this
pretty gnarly
boss fight.
fight. You can see a couple of it looks like she's actually got.
Again, Metal Eden might not be too bad. I'm excited for Metal Eden. Come on, Claptrap. Let me just skip you for a second. I've watched you enough times.
Oh, I don't have my glasses on. I can't quite see what that. It looks like there might be a throwing knife in the ordnance slot, but I don't have my glasses on, so forgive me if I'm.
No worries. But it is a throwing knife, yeah.
Yeah, let's see if whoever's playing does the action skill. This is the run up to a really awesome wicked boss fight. Oh look, there's. Oh, okay, so she's using the power ball. It's stunned him. There's also versions that can lock, ones that bounce around. There's lots of different ways.
It looks like the Vault of Inceptious looks like a bunch of like challenge fields.
That she can use these gravity balls. Her class is a Gravatar, and she uses science. She doesn't need magic.
So this person might be from Malawan. Ex-Malawan employee, I think.
Sirens use. She uses science and her inventions to have different effects on the battlefield. So with this particular build, you're going to see a lot of not just. It's kind of a combination between suppression and damage dealing with the way this version of the gravity balls are being used. My favorite are just pure locking and crowd control. Suspensions. I like holding enemies in the air for me. I like some of the moves can automatically bounce the gravity balls from enemy to enemy. And you notice in this one too, it'll time dilate. Let's see if it's on cooldown right now. We got another 30 seconds, but it can surround an enemy and slow them down to almost nothing. And it also slows down bullets. Which
That's
is kinda
pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, this is looking just like my kind of character, so I can't wait to get hands on with Harlow. Now, back in pre-sequel, there was a lot of multiplayer interaction that you could have with the other Vault Hunters. Are we going to see any of that kind of? I know you talked about tweaking stuff and going back things.
One of the boldest, scariest decisions I made when we were working on Borderlands 3 was to insist that we render all of our cutscenes in the engine in real time.
Okay.
Before that, even in pre-sequel, all of our cutscenes were pre-rendered and they just played as videos. When we made the decision, we weren't sure if we were going to pull it off. I said, we're going to do it. If we can, we're going to ship with it. But we're definitely going to try. Because we weren't sure if we could ship with it, we made the decisions to not include the Vault Hunters in the cutscenes. Because if you don't see your character, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know? I'm glad we made that decision, though, because we did pull it off. We did successfully get to the point where we can now render everything in real time. So now in Borderlands 4, all of the Vault Hunters, whatever Vault Hunter you're playing, is in the cutscene, which gives us the ability to integrate the Vault Hunters themselves, the player characters, in more of the story.
Where do you
they all have
respawn,
unique dialogue. They all have unique characterizations
Same
and
spot?
interactions.
Or
Not
you have
just
to, like,
NPCs, but even
travel
with each other if you're playing in co-op.
so back.
And we pushed that
You're
part
so
of the
far
simulation
back.
farther than we've ever pushed it before. And it's kind of fun too, because as you know, with the customizations, there's all kinds of weird costumes and outfits people can wear. Those show up in the cutscenes too. So go crazy if you want to break the game and have some really funny interactions. It's absolutely possible.
I plan on breaking the game as much as possible.
It's part of the fun of Borderlands to
It
break
is.
the game.
It really is. Now, Borderlands no stranger to having tons of missions. How many missions are we looking at in Borderlands 4?
Well, I will tell you that there's a very, very healthy main campaign. I'm not going to tell you the exact number of missions, but all of the things that are like critical path that are necessary for the main storyline, it's about the length of what you would expect if you played past Borderlands games. But with the side quests and the side missions, we have...
The Watcher? Okay. Ah, Eden, I know. You look fun to play. I understand it. Please let me keep watching like them talking about spoiling Borderlands 4. I got him by the balls, I swear. What do you mean welcome recruits?
Just double down, but triple down. There's like a multitude more than we've ever done before. So many, and you could do them or not. They're all totally optional. Some of them are just quick little, almost instantaneous little
Okay,
fun
so
side things.
that looks like a doll gun, or like a Jackson gun.
Others are full drawn-out adventures. The length of some of our DLCs offer just a side quest outside of the main story beat. So there's a lot to do, and that's because it's the biggest
nice.
game we've ever made. We made this seamless world. You know, finally technology has caught
That's
up to our
a
ambitions.
pistol, I
You
think.
can tell when you play even early Borderlands.
A legendary
games, we've always
pistol
wanted
from the
a
looks
wide
of
open
it's
world,
purple.
but we haven't been able to do it. We've always had to, narrow things out and make a little junction point with a cutscene or with a loading time, mostly with loading times, which sucks because you're waiting to play the game. You're waiting for the technology to catch up. In Borderlands 4, the hardware and the software we've developed and our use of Unreal Engine has caught up to our ambition. So now it's a wide, seamless world. And with that, we populate it. So in addition to main storylines and side quests, there's all kinds of other activities that are dynamic and just sort of happen, and little things to do that you could discover.
Kill the
and immerse
enemies with
yourself in as you
sniper.
explore the
Nice.
Borderlands.
Yeah, no, like the vision is always like it's always seemed like it's wanted to go push further and further, and you guys have been doing each.
Thanks. Yeah, we try. We are, and sometimes we push too far, but I think that's part of we're artists, and it's part of what goes with it.
Art, it evokes.
Yeah, because it's good. The fact that when they were talking about how they wanted to like make the cutscenes in engine versus like generated cutscenes, I feel like that added such a it added such a tasteful layer on top of the content.
Emotion and such, and
you can feel. You could feel the Gearbox team. You could feel us in our games. We're all in
You
there,
need a turret.
for better or for worse. But we definitely commit ourselves.
Malamon guns, depleted
to it. And I think I'm hoping. I know for me, as someone who loves entertainment in a world where like everything's getting more and more digital and things can be AI generated, that I actually appreciate more when I could feel the human craftsmanship, the handmade work, and I don't know, it feels really good. And when I have so many people on the team, like for me, one of the reasons why I love to play solo a lot, and co-op's fun, but I want, like, there's beauty just under a rock with an artist that's painted the little doodles.
Just getting that chance to kind of explore it yourself. Now, speaking of like evoking emotion and such like that, the $80 comment around games. I got to ask you about it. Do you worry that approach is going to be detrimental to the potential success of Borderlands?
What approach?
The $80, like the conversation around the $80 game gamers.
Well, I think that whole thing is a byproduct of something I'm kind of just, I think is important, which is, I am on Twitter and I'm accessible.
Yeah, because there's a huge question of whether or not, how do you make a game accessible for people without taking away the experience? Because we want people to... We want an easy barrier of entry for people who want to enjoy these games, and oftentimes the worst barrier of entry is cost. Say, for example, the Rogue Ally, the handheld controller that's married by Rogue and Xbox. I'm super excited for what that provides, but it doesn't change the $700, the $1,400 barrier of entry that not a lot of people have access to. Not a lot of people have the access to that kind of money. For me, I was lucky enough to get something happen at work to allow me a certain thing to be provided. And for a lot of people, like the general public, some people struggle with the ability to pay rent as it is sometimes. Some people have the struggle to just do things that should be available for other people. You should have the ability to have a means of entertainment. You should have the ability to see the outside world and experience things, but you don't always have the ability to go to the greatest place on earth. Not everyone has Disney money, so you have to make it a situation where it's a conversation where games have to be as accessible as books. They have to be the experience of content has to be at a place where everyone can meet.
And anyone could, I'm at Duval Magic on Twitter, and anyone in the world could message me, and I reply, and I use the platform for what it's worth. Now, it was really interesting, right? Because
I don't need to hear about this again. I've heard it a couple times in this video alone. Come on.
There's a conversation that happens, which let's be honest, the sum of all social media talk and the sum of every article written about that doesn't matter. Literally, it doesn't. At the end of the day, as all of us do, when we approach entertainment, we think about what it is that we want and what it is they're asking of us. And if we want something and it feels like a fair price or whatever the barrier is, then we explore it and we engage in it. And if it doesn't feel fair, we step away. Yeah. And both Gearbox and Take-Two and 2K have always had the attitude of, we want to make sure in every case that whenever we're making entertainment with people, and whatever it costs, that whoever's getting it feels like they got the better end of the deal. That the value that they're getting for whatever they're spending is better.
That's really good.
And I think we've always lived whenever we're making entertainment with people, and whatever it costs, that whoever's getting it feels like they got the better end of the deal.
That is a good statement. That is a good stance for a publisher, for a person who sells goods. That's really good. I want to make sure that people on the other end get the better deal.
The value that they're getting for whatever they're spending is better, and I think we've always lived up to that.
I agree.
Now,
I think you guys have really done that with like your DLCs and extra expansions in previous Borderlands. Like I've always felt like I've gotten the value in the hours I put into those.
Thank you. So. I do know something about the game. I've been working on Borderlands 4 for 6 years. So. It's amazing value. The truth is, when we designed the model and when we built everything, like it all makes sense. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And the price isn't up to me anyway. I was just engaging in a conversation that was happening
for sure.
on the internet.
And that's been a conversation that's been happening.
And it's an
for
interesting
a lot of
conversation.
It is.
For any given product conversation, the conversation doesn't matter. I'm really, as an artist, I'm thrilled that my partners, that Take-Two and 2K decided to sell Borderlands for the same price we sold Borderlands 3 for, not raise the price with some other games, because I want everybody to play it. I want as many people as possible to play it.
As many people as... Let's him say that again.
Raise the price when 2K decided to sell Borderlands for the same price we sold Borderlands 3 for, not raise the price with some other games, because I want everybody to play it. I want as many people as possible to play it. And there might be a little bit of friction there for some people as prices go up. But I also know that from a value perspective, they probably could have charged 5 times as much, and it would have felt worth it. And some people might be able to.
So Borderlands.
I don't know if
Borderlands 4 is currently being sold at $70. What's Borderlands 3 price at launch was on release. The standard edition was $60, deluxe was $80, and the super deluxe was $100. Allegedly. Price history. That's interesting. So, but like when we look back at the pre-purchase for Borderlands 4, the at launch price for Steam alone is at $70. What about the physical? Physical might be digital is $70. Physical might be $60. Who can say?
But, it's the maker of it. Sure.
I want it to be as cheap as possible.
Hey, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, thank you so much. Borderlands 4 hits PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC on September 12th, and it's coming to Nintendo Switch 2 on October 3rd. But right now, there's more Gamescom Studio right here on.
And that's really that's exciting to hear when it comes to the impressions that Borderlands has, because Borderlands is a cult classic. It's people like it, people enjoy it, and I think that what he stands for He's really good. He wants as many people to play as he wants as many people at the table as possible. He wants as many people who can afford it to afford it, and that's really good. I like that. I'm excited for when Borderlands 4 comes out. I don't know if I have the time personally, but I'm excited for people who can. And let's check out anything else. Okay, cool. We're gonna be looking at some Sekiro. Okay, we'll have Max on queue as well, but I'm super excited to see what Onimusha has in store. I know it might be the same guys as before, but who knows? But I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. Alright, had a good break, had some water, stretched my foot a little bit, it's a little bit stressed. Door, I forgot the door. Alright, let's go ahead and watch more Onimusha! Could it be as sharp as Sekiro without Souls-like difficulty? And the answer is yes, because I don't understand why people are insistent on comparing samurai games to Onimusha to samurai games when Onimusha came before Sekiro. So why are they comparing it to Sekiro because of the anime that is being released, or it's because it's their most easiest identifiable thing that is a samurai? And that is not a good way of comparing games, in my opinion. It is really cool though, because it looks cool.
We're here at Gamescom 2025, more specifically in front of a beautiful Onimusha, Way of the Swords, and we've managed to play the game, a small little snippet. Matt, what did you think of Onimusha?
I must confess, I've not played any of the PS2 games, but I know roughly what their deal was. It does feel like they have kind of reinvented it for kind of like the modern day, And yeah, I think it's really going to work in what feels now like a golden age of swordplay games. We've had Sekiro kind of like in the last few years and Ghost of Tsushima that really raised the bar on what those kind of games were, and I feel like this is probably going to join them. It felt like it got really sharp, satisfying swordplay.
Yeah, I must confess, I'm not really a Souls-like guy at all.
Why is Souls-like the comparison?
In the last few years in Ghost of Tsushima that really feels now like a golden age of swordplay games. We've had Sekiro kind of like in the last few years in Ghost of Tsushima that really...
When you say swordplay games, why is Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima the first things you think about? I don't understand that. Is it because of its comparison to like the one weapon style only, or like that? Are there other swords
raise the bar on what golden age of swordplay games we've had?
What sword? Because there's, when you think of swordplay games, there's also essentially Soul Calibur, which is a swordplay fighting game, and then there's also Dark Souls, which is also swordplay. There's a lot of there's definitely other action games, action games with swords. There's Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game with action game with swords. Witcher has swordplay. Dark Souls swordplay. Neo, Monster Hunter, Son of Rome, For Honor. There's a lot of those games, but why instantly shoot out to the most Japanese game, which is either Sekiro or Ghost of Tsushima? That's a little profile. I don't like
Sekiro,
it.
kind of like in the last few years in Ghost of Tsushima, that really raised the bar on what those kind of games were, and I feel like this is probably going to join them. It felt like it got really sharp, satisfying swordplay.
Yeah, I must confess, I'm not.
Okay. I need to see the comments because I'm getting upset just by hearing it. As an OG Superman, OG fan, so hype. Not every game needs to be a Soul-like, so why bring up the comparison? If I hear Souls-like one more time, like, it's not... Souls-like isn't just like one form of like soul. It happens to be the most popular swordplay game, but it's not only that. It was never Souls-like to begin with. Yeah, like I don't. They are grasshoppers to games like this. People these days tend to call every game Souls-like. Oh god, it's annoying. There's an obsession and I don't get it. There's a whole genre in action games with high ceilings where it exists. Y'all get so tired of these titles. We know it's not a Souls-like. We don't need you to keep peppering it in.
Really a Souls-like guy at all. So when I started playing,
I don't like Dale. I really don't like Dale. I don't know his experience in games, but there's a lot of games that have swords that are considered soulplay. Like there's also like No More Heroes has sword play. But why do you compare? Why is the Souls-like a thing that you have to like keep hammering every time?
My initial fear was, oh my god, am I going to be punished for this because I don't have experience with these games?
Of course you're going to be punished. Anytime you make a mistake in a game, you're supposed to get punished. But like, I don't know why are you so... I don't like the anxiety that you have for difficult games or for games that are very new.
But that wasn't the case at all. It found like it came quite natural. The parry window was huge. And I guess the thing for me is I immediately felt like a badass with that sword. And I mean, that's what I want. Like, how did you feel about it as someone who loves Souls-like games?
Yeah, so...
Stop saying Souls-like.
It may have souls in it, as anyone will know from like the PS2 days, but it's not a Souls-like.
Thank you, Matt. I like you so much more than your friend. I like you so much more than your friend. It's not a Souls-like.
I think the great thing is it may have souls in it, as anyone will know from like the PS2 days, but it's not a Souls-like.
Let's see that again.
So it may have souls in it, as anyone will know from like the PS2 days, but it's not a Souls-like.
Oh my God! Say it one more time.
It may have souls in it, as anyone will know from like the PS2 days, but it's not a Souls-like. And I think the great thing is it feels like it is definitely been made
Stop
for
saying
action fans
Souls-like.
rather than Souls-like fans. And sure, it does have, like, as you say,
Wait, what?
feels like it is definitely been made for action fans rather than Souls-like fans. And sure, it does have, like, as you say, parries, and it is a game that requires skill with your blade, but the parry windows are generous. The block is an omnidirectional block, so even if enemies are coming from behind you, all you've got to do is hold down L1 and you will block behind you. All of these kind of make you feel more like you're very engaged in a way that is not quite the same tactical level as a Souls-like, but ultimately makes that sort of thrill like accessible to a lot more types of players.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Matt.
And like
Dale,
the original Onimusha games, that like you mentioned earlier, there's souls collecting. So from your quick playtime, what did we summarize on how that works?
Right, so there are 3 different colored souls.
Okay.
There are red ones, there are blue ones, and there are yellow ones.
yeah, yellow ones come out rarely, especially when you activate your skills that are pumped up by the blue ones. And red is currency.
The yellow ones are easy. They heal you.
Okay.
So basically, if you can create yellow souls, and you can use different weapons to create different souls out of the enemies. So if you can create yellow souls, that'll heal you mid-battle rather than having to use a healing pouch. Then there are the red ones, which are your classic kind of, you pick those up, and you'll get to spend those, I presume, like at an armorer or an upgrade section. We didn't get to see that in-game, so I can't tell you like what new sword you can get or what new kind of health upgrades. And then you get the blue ones that power your Oni meter. Now this is what allows you to do even cooler abilities than just your standard kind of like attack or heavy attack. And these use special weapons that only get used in that attack. In the demo, we got to use the 2 Celestials, which were these kind of twin daggers, and their purpose was to drop yellow souls.
Yeah.
So basically collect blue souls to use that special attack, and that creates yellow souls that heals you, and you're only going to use that attack against like enemies that are basically doing damage to you anyway. So you start to see that cycle kind of kick in where it's like kill enemies to heal yourself to move on.
Yeah, and as someone who, I mean, we both love Doom Eternal, but someone who specifically loves Doom Eternal, that's a system that you really enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, and as someone who, I mean, we both love Doom Eternal, but someone who specifically loves Doom Eternal, that's a system that you really enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, anything that, it's weird, like this is a game that's like...
Yeah, because when you it rewards you. When you activate your Oni, your mythic weapons with the Oni meter for a short period of time, you're rewarded with the yellow ones. Yeah, the reward system between building the meter for a long enough time and saving that special weapon for when you have to, rewarding.
Weirdly about managing meters, because every enemy has kind of like a posture meter, right? Like, and so you have to kind of battle through that.
That's because this is actually new for me, because between playing Onimusha 2 and between playing Onimusha on the PlayStation, I think the secondary meter on the bottom is very new. To me, at least, too.
Meter to then do damage against them, and you have a posture meter. They need to break your posture before they start doing like big damage on you. And this sounds like it's like quite a mathematical game, like it might be boring, but exactly like Doom Eternal, in the moment you forget about the fact there's all of this maths ticking on in the background. It just feels really wicked to basically parry an enemy and then instantly decapitate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the posture meter, we got a good example of that of the boss that we got to play in the demo. And we say it's not Souls-like, but from my point of view, like, you know, that sure looks like a...
Yeah, your point of view is very narrow. Stop saying Souls-like. I swear.
Souls boss setup. However, and we say it's not Souls-like, but from my point of view, like, you know, that sure looks like a Souls boss setup. However, it was like relatively simple to take on. Yet that doesn't mean it wasn't fun.
It's
it was
just a normal boss setup. Why is it Souls-like every time? Is it Souls-like because of the kind of music that drops? Is it Souls-like because you walk in without a cutscene? Is it Souls-like because of the difficulty? Because oftentimes Souls-like is used to describe difficulty, and if it's difficult for you, that means your library of games may not have challenged you in the same way that this has.
It's definitely fun, but the boss didn't necessarily pose much of a challenge.
No, yeah, so Ganryu, I don't...
Definitely fun, but the boss didn't necessarily pose much of a challenge.
No, yeah, so Ganryu, I don't think he's going to go down in like the pantheon of the greatest boss battles ever. However, I think he works as like a really good promise as what Onimusha might be delivering. Because yeah, this is a fight that I guess if you were to compare it to a Sekiro fight, it's a bit like the Genichiro fight in that it's got a lot of kind of like, you're in a small kind of temple area. There's a lot of kind of like swipes. He'll do big kind of leaps and come down at you. You have to defend against them. And basically it is about damaging his posture to the point where you can do kind of a mid-battle kind of, for lack of a better term, death blow, and then you fight through the next posture meter to get to his kind of like defeating blow. And so yeah, there is a bit of that kind of Souls-like element to it, and you certainly, as I say, you required skill. There's a meter in the game which, like, the more you parry, the more it builds. And if you can build a successful parry chain, your sword sets on fire, all these blue sparks, and you do way more damage. And if you can keep successfully parrying, you keep that buff going, so it really rewards you for that. And I feel like that boss fight was a really good example of, like, keep that parry chain up.
Matt, please keep talking. You sound so much nicer to hear.
You know, ensure you're on top of every move that he does. And so it is about learning those moves that he can do, but you get completely rewarded for it, and then, yeah, like, you get a really rewarding conclusion to that fight.
Because, like, in the last video we watched, there's 2 different types of breaks. One of them rewards with more damage, and the other one rewards with more souls. So there's definitely 2 that can be beneficial depending on where you're at in the fight.
From this demo, like, I've gone from someone who, like, I played Onimusha back in the day, but I can't say I was, like, clamoring for it.
You just said that you don't... This guy just said he never really played PlayStation 2 games, and you to then lie about playing Onimusha, like, what the fuck?
The game, a small little snippet. Matt, what did you think of Onimusha?
I must confess,
specifically in front of a beautiful Onimusha, Way of the Sword Stand, we've managed to play the game, a small little snippet. Matt, what did you think of Onimusha?
I must confess, I've not played any of the PS2 games, but I know roughly what their deal was.
Okay, so it's Matt that's never played the PlayStation 2 games.
It does feel like they have kind of reinvented it for kind of like the modern day, and yeah, I think it's really going to work in what feels now like a golden age of swordplay games. We've had Sekiro kind of like in the last few years and Ghost of Tsushima that really raised the bar on what those kind of games were, and I feel like this is probably going to join them. It felt like it got really sharp, satisfying swordplay.
Yeah, I must confess, I'm not really a Souls-like guy at all, so when I started playing it, my initial from someone who, like, I played Onimusha back in the day, but I can't say I was, like, clamoring for it to come back, but I find myself now really excited to play this game, and I think it's because, for me anyway, it just feels like I'm in a constant state of being rewarded for my actions, and then I'm being rewarded by getting to do cool things.
Oh yeah, like this is a game where kind of like the moment you do like a good parry against normal enemies, that tends to open them up for these really, really slick takedown moves, which is decapitations or cutting arms off, and they will chain together. So if you can like exhaust 2 enemies simultaneously, you get to do a 1-2 kind of like double stab. It is really slick, really stylish, and yeah, it doesn't feel punishing. It feels rewarding.
Yeah, definitely.
We've always fought him in every other iteration of Onimusha.
Much more to talk about Onimusha, but I think that wraps us up there.
So, Matt, I enjoy listening to. Dale could be easier to. Dale needs to play more games. But enough about that. Let's watch and hear from the dude himself. Dude or buddy, let's hear from you. 'Cause I'm excited to hear what your impressions are. Come on, this is a really long 15 seconds. How long are these 15 seconds, please?
Let's go! Left, I had the opportunity. What's up, dudes? Max here, back from a quick trip, and right before I left, I had the opportunity to head over to Capcom and play a few games around Gamescom. That's going to be going down either pretty much today or the next few days, and they had several titles that were playable, and probably the number one that I was the most anxious to get my hands on was Onimusha. So for those of you that are unaware, Onimusha is sort of like, I don't think this is officially announced anyway, it sort of is my feelings on it, sort of like a spiritual reboot. Samanosuke isn't the main character, there's a new dude.
Spiritual reboots? I can understand that too, because when it comes to Way of the Sword, in my impression, it's taking the concepts of Onimusha and moving the locale, because Onimusha was, hold on, Onimusha, the first game. The first game. I want to look at the first game's premise. I'm looking at the first one. Onimusha Warlords from 2001 was the setting. I'm looking for the setting. Where's the setting? I'm trying to read the setting. It's set in the Sengoku period. focused on Sameno Susuke Akechi, who fights as the forces of Nobunaga. I believe, how far apart is how far apart are the ages, the eras between Musashi and Nobunaga? I think they're different eras, correct? Okay, so the whole, I like the idea that when he says spiritual successor, spiritual reboot, that makes a lot of sense. I like the idea that they're playing on currently established premises of Onimusha and separating and jumping the timeline to 20 years into the future, or 20 years 20 years into the future in a separate part of Japan. Because the first game, Onimusha Warlords, or Genma Onimusha, was set during the Sengoku era, and during the death of Nobunaga was the decline of the Sengoku era. 20 years later is Musashi being an adult and fighting demons left and right in here. So I like the premise time skip of like 20 years within this universe. I like it.
By the name of Musashi. The game, from what we saw at Summer Games Fest, looked to be very much in line with like the classic Onimusha. Now, the difference between the impressions I had at Summer Games Fest to what we're looking at now is that we have actual gameplay to show off of all this stuff, so you're going to be seeing a little bit of like a supercut of cool moments. And the second biggest thing is that I got to actually play it this time. I was pretty impressed in the initial demonstration that it just looked very cool, like a lot of stuff working together. It looked very cinematic, looked very flashy. So let's sort of just break down the few things that I remember from my playthrough and some of the stuff that really stood out to me. Number one, obviously the visuals. Ridiculously good, man. I think Onimusha might be one of Capcom's like tentpole, like best looking games that they got going on right now. And it just is more representative that the RE engine just keeps getting better and better and better at what it does.
Yeah, because I believe they moved on from Unreal Engine, and then at the start of Resident Evil 2 Remake, they've used the RE engine for all of their games, including Monster Hunter.
Been some weird step backs here and there over the past couple of years with like Dragon's Dogma 2 and some big games like Monster Hunter Wilds needing some better optimization, but this game is not like that. Very much so. What I will say is it's an emphatic positive about the visuals of the game, and the animation transitions are just top notch. These fights almost look choreographed, the way you engage enemies and stuff like that.
That's nice to hear. That's really good to hear.
There's a reason for that. The game is relatively like linear, and that might not be a big issue to some, but if you're expecting like very large scale open environments like some other games that Capcom has with the RE engine, like we just said, then it's really not going to be that. You're pretty much focused in corridors, and the entire experience is about you moving from like point A to point B to point C relatively in a straightforward fashion. There's definitely
regular Onimusha has always been straightforward, so it's not open world as what people would like to assume, because in the early announcements people assumed, oh, is it going to be Capcom's first step? Is it now Capcom's turn to step into the Souls-like genre? No, this is action adventure from the beginning, just like it has been 24 years ago with Onimusha Genma.
Going to be some backtracking here and there. There's some areas that we were unable to get access to, and granted, the thing that we did have playable for Onimusha was pretty much felt like the very beginning of the game, which is kind of like a gripe that I had. I wish we had access to something that was a bit further in, where we got to really explore a bit of what was like available with it. But right now,
I wonder if like going further into the game would have made some spoilers. But I like the idea that they relieve the first 15-30 minutes of your experience to be the same experience that everyone will get when the game comes out, because there's a chance that later on some late game content, like late game mechanics, may be spoilers. So I can understand their expectations.
It felt like everything was being specifically held back, and the level design was absolutely one of those where it's like, oh yeah, we're just sort of going through and it's about killing this dude, killing that dude, and moving forward as quickly as possible while just hacking and slashing and making your way to an eventual boss fight. So let's talk about the hacking and slashing, because I had the initial presumption, admittedly so, that this game was going to be kind of like a Souls-like, like a Capcom take on a Souls. The initial presumption, admittedly so, that this game was going to be kind of like a Souls-like, like a Capcom take on a Souls-like, and knowing Onimusha, and it's like, well, yeah, Nioh has done that. There's been several other games like Sekiro that have sort of done that.
Yeah, Nioh and Sekiro is Souls-like because, well, I can understand Sekiro because it came from Software, but Nioh was from Team Ninja, so that's Team Ninja's step.
And it is not. This game is 100% very much in the absolute respect of Onimusha as a franchise, especially Onimusha like 1, 2, and 3. I didn't play a whole bunch of Dawn of Dreams myself, but it really feels like they are not deviating too hard from what the classic Onimusha formula is. You have a basic attack button, you have a heavy attack button, you have a button that sort of like builds up in the back.
2 sentinels. Wait, what?
Basic attack button, you have a heavy attack button, you have
2 sentinels. R1 with full power. Oh, so 2 sentinels is like a special move, or is that your button to switch into the weapons for a short period of time?
A button that sort of like builds up in the background that is like a super in a way.
R1 when the gauge is successfully full.
Let's just say it's a super that does like a unique weapon, and then you have like a deflect / block button, but also a dodge. And there's an interact, but the dodge button is kind of unique because you get this option between dodging attacks or deflecting / parrying attacks. But the parry felt very much in line with kind of what you would expect from a traditional parry-like game, right? This game was going to have parries; it's going to be a big aspect of it. So if you're looking for a parry-heavy Capcom game, well, going to break it to you. This one might be pretty big on that throughout the majority of its playthrough. Capcom game, well, right? This game is going to have parries. It's going to be a big aspect of it. So if you're looking for a parry-heavy Capcom game, well, going to break it to you. This one might be pretty big on that throughout the majority of its playthrough. Parries look really cool, result in some huge flashy moments that usually are the result of an execution of an enemy just getting cut in half. And the way you engage enemies is pretty fun. It feels like what the game wants me to do as you're moving through and you go from like segment to segment to segment with some very, very light puzzle solving in this early access sort of preview of the game. It feels like the game wants me to dispose of these enemies as quickly as possible and as fashionably as possible, I would say. It's almost like I think there would be a style meter in the game in some way, but there is not. It sort of feels like with all these cool animation transitions, it just wants to make the coolest, most fanciest of actions sort of be happening all the time as Musashi is taking out all these enemies.
Would this make you buy a Ridge wallet?
It will not. I want to get my own wallet, man. I don't need a Ridge wallet.
Further mechanics in the game where you is taking out all these enemies. As I said before, we didn't get access to a ton of like further mechanics in the game where you have to really balance and utilize these resources that you have against the enemies. If there's one thing that I can say about the demo that we played is that there were 2 options of difficulty. One being sort of a story / cinematic mode that will likely make a lot of the events of the story much easier, but I didn't play that one. I played the normal / professional difficulty. I think it's called like combat or something like that. And it was...
Okay, so the fact that they provide 2 different, they provide accessibility in terms of story ease, or standard play. Story mode, things are easier to parry, you take less damage by a certain degree, and you hit harder versus standard as the game was intended. I like the 2 options, especially for those who don't have a lot of time or who want to just get through the game because they enjoy being in the area and the difficulty might be too much.
Fun, but I did notice, especially because this is likely the very, very early portion of the game, which is a little bit of gripe. This is a little bit of a personal gripe myself. Man, we were just plowing through these enemies. You just sort of run in there and sort of hack and chop like crazy. The game has a very lenient sort of like parry window, especially on animation canceling, so you can sort of like do a lot of attacks and stuff like that, and have these context-sensitive like finishers all over the place. Like the main character will just zoop across and like whack guys, and it's about sort of chain killing these enemies in many ways, which is legitimately super awesome. I really enjoyed that part, but a lot of it didn't feel necessarily like challenging, even as much as like the old school Onimusha. But that game has a lot of like, you know, issues. It's effectively a Resident Evil game with combat. You know,
that is fair.
Even though you would say Devil May Cry is that, but this game has like actual tank controls.
Because if I remember correctly, Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, Onimusha was developed all at the same time, relatively speaking, and Devil May Cry was the answer to what if we had Resident Evil vibes but with a sword, and then this was also the same scenario, but one of them was more stylish than the other. So like they are all within the same family of tank controls dealing with horrors that the normal man shouldn't deal with.
Right, old Onimusha is a legit tank control game. So you have these attacks and you get these unique weapons and you fight enemies, and enemies have counters or to these weapons and stuff like that. And it's just about figuring that out, getting through, and almost like solving the game like it's a Resident Evil where
Like
you're
it's
just
a puzzle.
pathing and going from point A to point B and really moving quickly.
Sorry. Hello, Beans. I'm doing good. I'm just watching some videos. How can I help? If you want to, we can. Okay. You feeling good? Okay. If you want to get me something, if you can get me something from Panda Express, I trust your choices. I trust your choices on how you'll feed me. I miss you. I'll see you soon. We're having Panda tonight, Panda Express.
It's hard to say if this whole game is going to be that way. It looks a bit more, and this is just my personal opinion, it feels a bit more streamlined.
Actually, now that I think about I'm just noticing.
This whole game is going to be that way.
That's a weird. It's been like, what, 20 years since I've played Onimusha Warlord. I don't remember this instance happening of an enemy having their own gauntlet. So I think that makes sense in terms of the expression of like yin versus yang, and they need two Onimusha gauntlets to like maintain the balance.
Looks a bit more, and this is just my personal opinion, it feels a bit more streamlined, where so much of it is just about getting you into the cinematic action as much as possible. And that's where that gripe I said happens, where it feels a little easy because of that. It feels like Musaki's
a little
effectively...
easy, but we'll see. Because like again, if you can change difficulties in the middle of the game, that allows people like me, for example. I like the ability to where if I can't play the standard intended difficulty for like a set amount of deaths, it could be after 5 deaths, 10 deaths, I want to break down the difficulty so I can get through the game so that we don't stall the experience.
Just doing a lot of this stuff, and I don't know if I'm like piloting it. It's kind of like at the press of a button, I'm doing some really fancy, destructo attack against some guy where I'm flipping and dipping all over the place. But I did get the idea that there's a lot of like hidden mechanics in here, because even from some of the footage that you're seeing right now, there were some things that I was doing in my playthrough that was a bit different than some of the B-roll that Capcom gave me, and I'm kind of like, ooh, I wonder what that is. I'm kind of unsure what that is with our like 20 minutes with the game,
I definitely believe that is not the last we'll see Ganryu, because for him to die in the early game is too quick, because Ganryu versus Musashi is one of like the Ganryu versus Musashi is like one of the like fabled fights in like it's one of the most legendary duels between swordsman Sasaki Kojiro, or sometimes as Ganryu after the island, and Musashi Miyamoto on Ganryujima, or on Funashima Island on April 13th, 1612. Musashi arrives late and uses a wooden sword, which he had carved from an oar, against Kojuro's long nodachi. After Kojuro made his move, Musashi delivered a fatal blow to his head, ending the duel in rivalry and his rival's life. So these two specific like characters is so crucial and like so famed and so well renowned within Japanese mythos and lore. I definitely believe Sasaki has another part to play later on. But because his name was Ganryu, I wonder if this for them is sometime since the legendary duel.
If there's one thing that I really hope when we get the final version of the game is that the game is a little bit less in like automatic transmission. I kind of want to play the game in like manual mode, and it felt like with so many things just sort of like happening and flashy things, I'm like, I don't even know how I did that. And there's some big flashy thing takes place almost in every single situation and every single engagement to enemies. I'm kind of wondering like how I directly engage those mechanics and things, and how do I move forward to specifically do them when I want to do them. And it does feel like that stuff is there, but it absolutely is prioritizing cool cinematic action.
I want to be cool in a samurai game. I don't want a Souls-like. We have plenty of Souls-like, Dale. Sweet creams. Sweet creams. But either way, the fact that in a samurai game, I want to be cool. They've been known to be cool. There are forums against ninjas versus samurais versus pirates. We want to be cool.
Over everything. And because it's like kind of structured almost like in a Devil May Cry situation, it's not exactly where it's like limiting rooms and you fight all the enemies. You're just sort of progressing forward through these corridors and paths, and there's not much deviation to it, and you're fighting a bunch of dudes in the coolest way possible. That is sort of what the new Onimusha is setting up. In terms of tone and everything and story, there is a little bit. I wasn't super into it. It's sort of setting up the Gauntlet as this talking, sort of like aware character that is communicating with the main character at times. I didn't love it, but I definitely need to see the context that's building up to it and the things that happen after. The boss fight was legitimately super neat, but it came with that, caveat that it's kind of easy. I'm sort of just like mashing against this guy and parrying when I think he's going to hit me, and I'm getting cool parries and all this stuff while it's happening. Either way, I still think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's easily one of the most anticipated Capcom games of next year that I'm very much looking forward to, and I think based on what they showed us in this preview event, the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most is how it elevates and escalates. I really want to see how all these abilities and things that you get can move forward, and it reminds me to a point where back in the day we would play an action game from Capcom like Devil May Cry 5, and we would go to a preview event, but they would not give us just like the introductory sequence of the game. In fact, I think the introductory sequence we didn't play until the game came out. We got to play a couple of different like scenarios with like Dante and Nero and stuff like that, and they were a bit further in the game. They were like not the very beginning, but a little bit further, with characters had a little bit more access to things to sort of like tickle your brain that this is all possible, which I really think would have been great for this. I kind of wanted to see some brain tickling in terms of like mechanical depth and stuff like that, and it just wasn't especially there in this very controlled, very early game preview. So that being said, very much looking forward to it, and I think there's going to be a lot of really cool shit you'll be able to do with Musashi in this game when we eventually get a hold of the full game and do a full playthrough on this channel. Anyway, thank you dudes a ton for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the footage. I'll be back with more Gamescom impressions from Cap.
I'm excited for what they have in store. I like the whole premise. I dislike Dale. Dale for repetitive callbacks to Souls-like, and then just to save face. He's saving face, saying, when I first played the first Onimusha game, you mean which one? Are you talking about Genma? Are you talking about Warlords? When I first played it, it was very different. And then the fact that when you first start off your conversation by calling back to Souls-like, I like Matt. Matt is better. I like his impressions. He has never played it, but I liked what he said despite not playing PlayStation 2 games. You, Dale, you said you played... You just said at the end you played it when you were on the PlayStation 2. Are you talking... Do you mean on the Nintendo for Way of Dawn for like Dawnbreaker for like the DS or like the Switch? Because it doesn't... Your references are a lot or extremely poor in comparison to what Max had to say. So Dale, you get a negative review from me, but for me, I'm excited for when we get to play more Onimusha. I want to play this on the channel. I really do. I'm excited for when Onimusha comes out. Okay, let's check out what else we got. Ninja Gaiden. Hell yeah, buddy.
My dear.
Any other Onimusha? Did I watch that already?
I have a proposition for you.
This is
This is Gamescom Studio on IGN. If you're a fan of games about stealth,
hold on. I'm just trying to like curate what's going on here. Okay. Now that we're here, I'm really excited to see how Ninja Gaiden 4 continues the legacy of Ninja Gaiden. Okay, I don't know what was that about, but I'm excited to see how we continue in Ninja Gaiden because I've been a big boy fan. I'm excited to see what happens.
stealthy sword-wielding assassins, 2025 has already been jam-packed, but one of the deadliest around is still waiting to strike. Here to tell us about Ninja Gaiden 4, producer, director Yuji Nakao, and global project manager Joe Muntel will be translating. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Ninja Gaiden
Oh, Joe will be translating.
4, this time around, we're following a new character named Yakumo. What can you tell us about Yakumo?
本宅は新しい主人公ヤクモについて教えていただけますか？
そうですね。はい。今回の新しい主人公であるヤクモは竜ハヤブサが所属しているハヤブサの一族とは対極に位置する裏の一族として、満を持して登場します。で、このヤクモに関しては黒竜の祖先になっているので、その宿命を断ち切るために戦っていくことになるんですけど、その目的が竜と対立することによって竜との激闘が繰り広げられたりとか、その道行く敵、今回のメインの敵である竜神島だったりとかと戦うことになってしまうというそんな感じの物語になっています。
So the new protagonist Yakumo is a member of the Raven clan, which is a separate clan from Ryu Hayabusa's Hayabusa clan. And the Raven clan operates in the shadows of the Hayabusa clan. And Yakumo.
That sentence doesn't make quite much sense to me. Are you talking about in this current day and age? Because I always assumed ninjas of all careers always worked in the shadows. But how dark the shadow is probably within 50 Shades. So that might be what it's talking about. Unless the techno ninjas are daylight ninjas because they're from a tech company. I don't know.
Is on a mission to kill the Dark Dragon, which is the nemesis of Ninja Gaiden 4. And on the way to completing his mission, he will...
Dark Dragon? Wait, what's the first Ninja Gaiden Dark Dragon's sword? Is the Dark Dragon sword Dark Dragon blade is separate from the Dark Dragon itself? The last time we've seen the Dark Dragon was, let's see. Okay, cool. So let's see. So according to alleged wiki, the Dark Dragon is a powerful entity in Ninja Gaiden series and one of the main antagonists. He is mentioned in the background. He is a main villain in Dragon Sword for the Nintendo DS. So we fought him before in Dragon Sword, but I think he was sealed. But he was sealed during the game of Ninja Gaiden's Dragon Sword. Let me see. Throwing everything he had against the Dark Dragon, Ryu barely manages to slay the beast. And so he allegedly died, but he's going to come back again because they're going to revive him in this new franchise. Let's see if this maintains. Let's see if this maintains. Give me a second. Hold on, sorry. me a second, sorry. Things are being weird on my end. But we're not receiving enough strength for some reason. But that might have been because of everything in general. But essentially, we're back at it again, trying to revive the dead.
Ninja Gaiden 4, and on the way to completing his mission, he will have to clash with Ryu Hayabusa, who has different motivations and objectives, and along the way he'll also face off against the Divine Dragon Order, which you see him fighting many soldiers of the Divine Dragon Order in the footage that has been revealed up until this point.
I want to ask about Ryu in just a moment, but I think we're looking at the...
He's a divine dragon in the form of a human, sure. So if he dies, we get his scythe weapon, right? That's the logic of Ninja Gaiden as a franchise.
A story trailer that you just debuted here at Gamescom. So, tell us about what you wanted to do when you were telling this new story for Ninja Gaiden 4.
そうですね。昨日オープニングナイトライブでストーリートレーラーが公開されて。
Did he just grind the floor with his drill?
そうですね。昨日オープニングナイトライブでストーリートレーラーが公開されてたんですけども、本作のストーリーについてもうちょっと具体的に教えていただければと思いますけど。
はい。まず時代に関しては忍者ガイデン3からしばらく経ったある日なんですけど、もともと忍者ガイデンの過去シリーズで、何度か復活しては倒してを繰り返していた黒竜っていうのが、空に浮かぶ死体として、出てしまうことになります。でその封印を解いて、黒竜を倒すためにヤクモは、セオリっていうヒロインと共に進んでいくんですけれども、一方でその封印を竜ハヤブサだったり竜神島っていうのが守らないといけないというところから、目的が違うことによって戦ってしまうことになると。黒竜にまつわる黒竜が渦巻く物語になっていくので、その黒竜が実際どうなっていくのかとか、竜ハヤブサとヤクモは。
Remember, every time you do an Izuna drop, that's an extra point into your testosterone levels. So the more Izunas, the more testosterone you get, guys. That's what you gotta remember.
どうなってしまうのか、どういう戦いになっていくのかっていうところが見どころかなと思います。
So Ninja Gaiden 4's story is, it's set against the backdrop of this Dark Dragon nemesis. So the Dark Dragon has appeared in prior Ninja Gaiden titles, and in Ninja Gaiden 4, the Dark Dragon has been defeated a number of times. But in Ninja Gaiden 4, its husk is floating in the sky, and it is not completely annihilated yet. So it's actually been sealed away, and in order to completely cleanse the world of the Dark Dragon, Yakumo sets out to release the seals that are sealing away the Dark Dragon. And to that end...
Why is so your idea is to release the seals, to then make it at its most powerful, to then properly kill it. I've seen that somewhere before, and I don't know how successful that is, Yakumo.
He teams up with another character who's been revealed, the heroine, Sayori. And
Sayori!
That is what leads to the fight with Ryu Hayabusa and the Divine Dragon Order, which their objective is to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away because they're aware of the risks that will present themselves if they decide to release the seals that are sealing away this nemesis, the Dark Dragon.
So so it sounds like the conflict is the kid, what's his name again? The kid wants to release the seals to then kill the Dark Dragon within its entirety, but Hayabusa believes in risk management to where as long as we maintain the seals as long as we maintain the seals, we have control over the revival, and it looks like that's not working out. Both sound completely dangerous, but one sounds better than the other.
So how'd you decide to go with a new protagonist
and make more? Goddamn, Claptrap, I don't need you right now. I've had enough about you when I was talking about Borderlands earlier. I don't need to hear about you no more, dude. You gotta keep your time like 10 seconds shorter. Your 15 seconds is far too long, man. Please. I've already been watching all these ads as it is. Like, just give me a break.
Ryu more of a supporting character this time around.
I believe that they took inspiration of making Ryu Hayabusa the supporting character from Devil May Cry 4
まあ、新しい主人公、っていうことになるので、役もメインっていう認識ですけども、まあ、それにリュウハイブサじゃなくて、役もメインにしようと思ったきっかけ、ついて教えていただけますか。
はい。今回チーム忍者さんとコラボレーションで、忍者ガイデン4を作っていくのにあたって忍者ガイデン3からやっぱり時間がすごい経っているっていうところもあったりしたので、これから新しく忍者ガイデンを遊んでいただく方にもすっと受け入れてもらいたいなっていうところと、あとこれから新しい忍者ガイデンを作っていくっていうのにあたって、プレイヤーの目線で一緒に成長していけるキャラクターを作りたいっていうところからヤクモを入れることにしました。でただですね、もちろん忍者ガイデンのアイコンとなっているキャラクターとしてリュウハイブサっていうのはしっかり立って
リュウハイブサ
ストーリーに関してはプレイするパートもあれば
I believe it's Dragon and Tiger
リュウでプレイするパートもあるっていうところでしっかりと物語には絡めていくので、往年のファンの方に関してもご安心いただいてプレイしていただければなと思います。
Combos, combo meter, karma for like your I think the karma, if I believe correctly, is like your total score of the area.
So since it's been such a long time since the last mainline entry in Ninja Gaiden, we wanted to make a fresh entry point for new players as well, and that's why we decided to introduce a new protagonist in the form of Yakumo, who players can grow together with in this new game. But with that said, of course, Ryu Hayabusa is the Ninja Gaiden icon. So players
again, this is the same formula that Devil May Cry 4 has, and once Ninja Gaiden 4 pops off, we're gonna get Ninja Gaiden 5-man for sure.
You can rest assured that Ryu Hayabusa will have a strong presence in the story, and there are dedicated segments in the story for Ryu Hayabusa as well. So fans of Ryu Hayabusa will definitely have a great time with their playing through the story of Ninja Gaiden.
Using that drop, baby!
Fans of Ryu Hayabusa, like
Using that drop, baby! Testosterone's are up, baby!
6-1 and Darkwing Spartan would love to know, is Ryu's only weapon the Dragon Sword?
No.
そうですね、ユーザーからの質問も聞いていますけども、竜の武器種についてですが、竜剣のみですかっていう質問ですが。
そうですね。今回竜ハヤブサに関しては竜剣を使って戦うことになります。で、加えてですね。
It would have been such a baller move if he said, no. And then started talking the rest of it in Japanese. It would have been so good. Is it the only weapon? It should have been like, I'm all. Look at the camera, look at us. No.
ね、これまで5作にあった忍法ですねを使い分けながら戦っていくことに。
It's the only weapon they show in a trailer because it's the most recognizable weapon. Ninja Gaiden fans are aware that Ryu Hayabusa is always fighting with multiple kinds of weapons available. He fights with weapons that he owns. He steals the enemy's weapons. He steals your grandma's money. And he uses weapons from everybody, man. There's no such thing as a bad weapon with a Hayabusa.
で、反対にヤクモに関してはこれまで紹介した武器に加えて、それぞれのカラスの方という通常状態とヌエの方っていうダイナミックな技の数々っていうのを楽しんで、竜とヤクモ両方を使って楽しんでもらえたらなというふうに思います。
So yeah, in Ninja Gaiden 4, Ryu's weapon in the base game will be the Dragon Sword. But in addition to the Dragon Sword, he'll also be able to seamlessly use his Ninpo, so you can switch between Ninpo on the fly while in combat. And with regards to Yakumo's weapon variety, he uses his blood.
So look right here. It doesn't say much, but I'm pretty sure an earlier scene there was a double X. Two ninja swords, dual wield swords.
A Raven form to transform his base weapons. So each weapon itself is a pair. So there's in total 8 weapon varieties, if you will. So you'll be able to experience a wide breadth of weapon variety in the game with both characters.
So I don't think in all the combat we've seen, I don't think we've seen any ranged combat except for shurikens. Will there be new ranged weapons for either Yakumo or Ryu?
そうですね、今までの映像だと遠距離の武器あまり見当たらなかったんですけども、それについてどうですか。
そうですね、今回はですねこれまで使っていた多彩なアクションの中で特にヌエの方っていうところに遠距離の技っていうのを集約しておりまして 基本的な操作の中で使える遠距離武器に関しては手裏剣のみになります。でただ昨日オープニングナイトライブで公開させてもらった映像の中で使っている新武器に関しては遠距離と近距離を両方使い分けて戦うっていう、非常にトリッキーな武器になっているのでこちらの武器は他の武器とまた違う経路になっているので、そういったところでその遠距離の遊びみたいのは十分に楽しめる形になっているかなと思います。
So in terms of long-range weapons, like you alluded to in your question, the main long-range weapon will be the shurikens, but using Yakumo's Blood Raven form, for example, each weapon has its own projectile techniques that you can use to attack enemies who are away from you. So each Blood Raven form has a long-range technique that you can use. But also, I invite players to look at the trailer that was revealed yesterday, where we revealed the Assassin's Tools weapon. So that weapon is kind of a jack of all trades, and you could really, be tricky because it has a lot of long-range options as well.
Oh, it looks like the dual blades turn into a long sword too.
Close-range options.
Can you talk about how weapon upgrades work?
今回武器のアップグレードについて教えていただけますか？
武器のアップグレード。
多分武器の技についてです。
はい。そうですね。今回ですね、武器に関してはこれまでの忍者外伝アクションだったりとか、その基本的な操作に付随したものを習得できる体術っていうものと、あとそれぞれの武器に対する固有の必殺技みたいなものが存在します。で、そのまず前者の体術に関してはステージの途中で
I'm super excited. I can't sorry, I got distracted, but the fact that so it's a nice idea to where between Yakumo has utility like a Swiss Army knife because they're giving him multiple varieties of forms of combat and of long range damage, and at the same time we have the idea that Ryo Hayabusa might have traditional weapons in a certain way to where it's not going to be built into his original weapons, but he's going to take other people's bow and arrows. He'll take other people's explosive kunais, and he'll take other things for himself, which should be pretty fun, I think. Sorry, saw something?
Thank you. ステージの途中でアシストキャラクターにお金を払って教えてもらいながらアクションを順次学んでいくっていうものになっていて、武器の方の特殊な技に関しては、戦闘で貯める武器の経験値を使って解放していくことになります。でそれぞれ体術の方は、忍者ガイデンならではのアクションっていうのを取り揃えてて、武器の方に関しては、ある種プラチナゲームズならではのダイナミックなアクションの数々っていうのを楽しめるように住み分けているような形になっています。
Yeah, so the way progression works in Ninja Gaiden 4, there are combat skills and then there's weapon skills. So combat skills you'll be able to acquire from this character called Tyron, who you'll meet in each level, and you can use Ninja Coin, which is the in-game currency that you obtain just through general progression defeating enemies. And within those combat skills, you'll find those legacy, Ninja Gaiden techniques. It's where you can find your Izuna drop and your flying swallow that you'll of course be able to acquire at a very early point in the game because it doesn't cost much currency. And then separate from that, there are the weapon abilities that you can open up the menu, select your weapon, and you'll see this huge variety of weapon techniques that you can acquire using a separate currency. It's weapon experience, and that's where you'll find those things. And you'll see this huge variety of weapon techniques that you can acquire using.
So yeah, just the idea of you go to a temple or you go to a certain place to allow you to then open up the abilities, just hey, I want to buy this, and this thanks to the karma that I've developed and that I've accrued. So that's exciting. I don't remember if when the karma floats in the air, you can either use that to charge into stronger moves and make them faster, or hard to say, but that's been a system available since Donna's time.
A separate currency, it's weapon experience. And
weapon
that's where you'll find
experience.
those very dynamic platinum games.
Oh, that's very different then. So it's not one currency to rule them all, it's like two separate currencies. So you're forced to master a certain weapon to get through its weapon's tree skills.
Over the top, stylish abilities.
One more quick question before we let you go. A lot of fans are excited to play Ninja Gaiden 4. Are there any plans to release a demo as we get closer to launch?
最後、になりますけども、発売に、近づいてて一般向けのデモ私有を出す予定があったりしますでしょうかっていう。
そうですね、今回、ゲームズコムで初めて一般の私有になっていて、
Only at Gamescom
雑魚敵との戦闘っていう、忍者ガイデンらしいプリミティブな体験から、今回から新しくさらに進化したボス戦まで楽しめるような形になってます。でこの後もですね、ちょっとまだ計画中ではあるんですけど、いろいろな方に体験していただきたいので、そういった機会は積極的に考えていきたいなというふうに思っていますので、ぜひそちらもお楽しみにお待ちください。であと私有をしていただくと、今ゲームズコムで私有していただくと、こちらのピンバッジ。
Oh, there's a pin badge if you complete certain challenges, I think.
ますので、ぜひ皆さん、
That's really cool.
はい、こっちかな、はい、ぜひプレイしてください。よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, so right now, the general public who are visiting Gamescom, they'll be able to experience Ninja Gaiden 4, and the build we've prepared for the general public captures that kind of challenging, intense Ninja Gaiden experience. They'll be able to enjoy a boss fight as well. So we invite players to challenge themselves. With regards to future plans, we're still considering things, but we want to explore opportunities to allow more players to experience Ninja Gaiden ahead of launch. And if you do play the demo today, you'll be able to receive these pins of both Yakumo and Ryu. So if you're at Gamescom, please check out the demo and have fun.
Hell
Very
yeah!
Cool.
Buddy.
I'm excited to play. Thank you both so much. Ninja Gaiden 4 slices and dices this way onto Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and PC on October 21st. And right now, there's more Gamescom Studio.
That's really exciting. I like the fact that I didn't understand any of it, but I understand but like I love the fact that the body language.
発売に近づいてて、
Just in
一般
time
向けのデモ
the
私
entire
有
body
を出す予定
language.
があったりしますでしょうかっていう。
そうですね、今回
Because if I understand this correctly, we don't want the general they want to further curate the game's experience and like test it up until the release in October, because we're still like 2 months away. So we don't want any. I can see how for the general public, we don't want the general public to have an assumption of what the game is until they feel confident to release it through the internet, but until then, there's a set experience that people want to have.
ゲームズコムで初めて一般の私有になっていて、
Yeah, he was very like I don't know Japanese, but he was very clear. I felt it was very transparent, so that's really cool. Let's go ahead and check out the other one that they have. Another developer's interview. Okay. But come on, please, Japan. I know I'm here. I don't know why this thing is here.
Team Ninja, here to tell us more about Ninja Gaiden 4, our director Masakazu Hirayama from Team Ninja, producer-director Yuji Nakao from Platinum Games, and Joe Mantle, Team Ninja's global project manager. And Joe will also graciously be interpreting for us. Thanks so much for being here, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Of course. Now, fans everywhere are already going berserk for Ninja Gaiden 4. The game was revealed in January's Developer Direct, and we saw an action-packed trailer where the launch date was...
Actually, I'm gonna pause this recording right here at least, because it's gonna be a long video. We're looking at 30 minutes, so I want to separate it. So otherwise, look at her. I'm happy, she's happy, I'm happy, and I'm really excited for what they have in store for Ninja Gaiden in October. Not that button. Okay, cool. Now that we've separated the recordings, it's time for more Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, I'll show you what I got, Henry. I got Team Ninja. Here to tell us more about Ninja Gaiden 4, our director Masakazu Hirayama from Team Ninja, producer-director Yuji Nakao from Platinum Games, and Joe Mantle, Team Ninja's global project manager. And Joe will also graciously be interpreting for us. Thanks so much for being here, everybody.
I do hope that the questions were screened ahead of time. That way translations are better represented and no miscommunications were had. That's what I hope, because oftentimes when you're translating, you don't have, like, your brain can't easily switch from one language to another, and sometimes the grammatical translation doesn't translate. So I do hope that for these guys to make it easier, questions were screened and delivered before the interview.
Buddy?
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Of course. Now, fans everywhere are already going berserk for Ninja Gaiden 4. The game was revealed in January's Developer Direct, and we saw an action-packed trailer where the launch date was revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase. And just the other night, we caught the story trailer on Opening Night Live. And don't forget, there's a build right here at the show that you can play right now.
And you can get pins back then if you played.
To the team, how's the reaction been for you guys so far?
そうですね、1月のデベロッパーダイレクトの、発表以来はいろんな新しい映像が発表されたんですけど、本作に対する、期待がだんだん高まっているんですけども、ユーザーの反応を見てどんな、気持ちでしょうか。
まず、このようなですね、素晴らしいゲームショーの場でこう話できるのが大変嬉しく思ってます。長くこう潜んでこう開発してきましたけども、1日にこう発売できることをまず。あと、そして
I'm really look at those biceps, but I'm really excited to see what they have in store because I saw Ninja Turtles over there. Maybe Ninja Turtles collaboration? I don't know.
このゲームコムの会場で私も直接使用しているプレイヤーの皆様の姿を
Which is interesting to see though, because if you look up in the sky, they say the premise is that the the soul has been defeated, but the body lingers and it's floating on top of the city. But that is a long styled dragon for some reason. And that's a really long dragon. But if you played the Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword game on the Nintendo DS, it's a different dragon body entirely. So this is like an Eastern Asia reference body because like it's long like a noodle, right? But in the Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword game, it looks like a chunky lizard.
プレイヤーの皆様の姿を拝見してすごく興奮しています。これからも発売に向けてしっかり仕上げていきたいと思いますので、これからも応援よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, it's been great to see the fans and the players' reactions to everything that's been revealed up until now. We've been working on this game, in the shadows for a while, so it's been really great to finally reveal it.
That's really good. I'm really happy.
Ahead of its release on October 21st, and myself, I've been able to check out the show floor build, and see how its release on October 21st.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right, because he has weapons that allow him for like jack of all trades. So there's 8 weapons he can possibly use. So these happen to be claws.
And myself, I've been able to check out the show floor build, and see how players are engaging with the game and having fun, and it's been really great. And we'll be continuing to polish the game ahead of its release on October 21st.
Amazing, not long to
October
go.
21st.
Now, I know fans and myself are very excited that Platinum Games are actually co-developing alongside Team Ninja. So can you tell me a little bit more about that collaboration, how it started, and also what each partner has brought to the table?
そうですね、今回本作が、チームネンジャとプラチナゲームズのコラボ開発、になっていますけども、まずその開発の経緯について教えていただきつつ、どのようにお互いの強みを生かしたか、について、教えていただけますでしょうか。
Really good job, please, by the way.
開発としては我々チーム忍者としてもこの忍者ガイデンというタイトルはすごく大切にしてきたタイトルではあったので、いつかナンバリングタイトルチャレンジしたいという気持ちでずっと取り組んできました。その中で弊社の、小稲沼社長と、プラチナゲーム社の稲葉社長の方が、同世代ということで交流がありまして、何か一緒に協力してくれないかといったところで検討が進みました。でそんな中マイクロソフトのフィル・スペンサー氏の方から後押ししていただきまして、3社でタッグを組んで忍者ガイデン4といったのを開発するといったところが経緯となっています。プラチナゲームズさんの方のですね、ダイナミックでケレミのあるアクションといったところも我々のチーム忍者としても大変尊敬しているところですし、そういった魅力をですねしっかり取り入れながら忍者ガイデンだし体験に落とし込むというところをしっかり力を入れながら本作一緒に協力しながら開発していっています。
So at Team Ninja, Ninja Gaiden is a very important series for us, and we had wanted to make a new mainline entry for a long time. And when that opportunity started to present itself, there was actually a conversation that took place between the president of Koei Tecmo, Koinuma, and the president of Platinum Games, Inaba, who are actually friends. And they were having a conversation.
Friends. Friends make the team work, the dream work, baby. But it's nice to where like they know the fans wanted it, but between I would probably say that since the release of Ninja Gaiden 3 and then Ninja Gaiden the remaster collection, there's conversations of like there's still an audience for the game. So,
wouldn't it be great if we could work on something together? And that's when the idea of working on a new mainline Ninja Gaiden came up. And Phil Spencer from Xbox actually caught wind of this idea and threw his backing behind the project, and that's what allowed it to get off the ground. In terms of how we've been able to leverage both of our strengths, we at Team Ninja really respect Platinum Games and the accomplishments they've established with games like Bayonetta and Nier. And
they're really good games. Those are good titles.
We're able to incorporate their take on action games, their really
oh my
expressive,
God, I'm
dynamic
so happy
action
for those guys.
approach, and incorporate it into the foundations of Ninja Gaiden to evolve the series forward. And it's been a really great experience.
Love that. A collaboration of friendship beginnings. Love that. Now, at Developer Direct as well, speaking of friendships, we learned about our new protagonist, Yakumo, joining us for Ninja Gaiden 4 alongside Ryu Hayabusa, of course. And then also a new character, Fiore, was recently introduced and featured in the Gamescom trailer that we saw recently. Can you tell us a little bit more about both of our new characters?
God. Amazon. I know Amazon is like a proud sponsor, but also, can you stop with the... I'm already getting Japanese food. Eventually.
Joining us?
そうですね、本作は正しい主人公、ヤクモ、が登場するんですけども、あと、セオリっていうキャラクターも、ショーケースの、トレーラーで、発表されたんですけども、
Look at those
ヤクモと
biceps,
セオ
man.
リと、
Small boy
関係性について教えていただき
Who
ま
is
す。
this man?
今作ですね、新しい主人公であるヤクモが、とある任務の、途中で、セオリと出会うことになります。で、セオリは国有の巫女と呼ばれておりまして、そうですね、なぜかヤクモの出自だったりとかどういう一族なのかっていう秘密を知っている、謎の女性として出会っています。でそのセオリとセオリからの提案で黒竜を倒すという任務をヤクモと一緒に行うことになっていくんですが、この黒竜を倒すときに一度復活させなければいけないっていうジレンマがありまして、その際に封印を守る竜神党という組織、それからシリーズおなじみの竜ハヤブサと目的が異なることによって対立していくことになるという物語になっております。
So the game starts out with our new protagonist Yakumo, and he's on a mission. And on the course of this mission, he encounters this mysterious character, Seori. And Seori is a dark dragon priestess, very mysterious
Dark
character.
Dragon
And
Priestess? So there's three people involved. There's the Raven Clan, the Ryu Hayabusa Clan, the Dragon Clan, and the Dark Dragon Clan. She's a Dark Dragon priest, but she's helping Yakumo against this antagonistic figure? Okay.
Somehow it knows about Yakumo, about the clan, the Raven clan that he belongs to. And through a series of events, they set out on a mission together to cleanse the world of the Dark Dragon. So the Dark Dragon has been sealed away because of its threatening nature. But in order to completely annihilate the Dark Dragon, they have to first release the seals that have sealed it away before they can kill it for good. And this is where the clash with Ryu Hayabusa, as well as the Divine Dragon Order, which is kind of the antagonist organization in the game. Their objective is to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away. So Yakumo and Seori.
But that's the biggest question. Like, if the Dark Dragon seals are working, is there a reason that the Ravens want the Dark Dragon to be destroyed in its entirety? Like, we're gonna learn that the more we play the game, but what's the point of, at that point, why is Yakumo being an angsty teenager if the Dark Seals is, like, working? Unless Sayori is lying, or somebody's lying here, and Yakumo is just the ignorant child.
Setting out to revive the Dark Dragon and release those seals versus Ryu and the Divine Dragon Order, who want to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away. And this is how the clash between these characters play out.
Got you, I see. So a little bit of conflict at the start. We'll see how that plays out. I've got to say, I do love Yakumo's hair. I think it looks very cool and stylish, so that's great. Can't wait to see more from them. But speaking of new characters too, we got a couple of them introduced to us during the Gamescom trailer as well. So could you tell me a little bit more about Kagachi and Achilles as well?
Kagachi?
オープニングナイトライブで、新しいキャラクターも登場、してたんですけども、カガチとアキレス、について教えていただけますでしょうか。
はい。まずカガチに関してはですね、先ほどお話した竜神堂の。
So, are they talking about that samurai character, or the blonde guy in the back of Sayori with like glasses? That's what I noticed.
偉い立場の将軍となっております。でこのカガチはですね、黒竜の封印を、竜とともに竜神として守っていることになるんですけど、先ほどお話ししたようにヤクモと目的が違うことでカガチは愚か、竜神と組織もろとも、敵に回してしまうことになるので、ヤクモとは
Why does he have like a long odachi in the back of it, on his back, but his right arm is cut off and how he has all this technology, but he refuses to heal or replace his right arm. Which, like, I respect if he makes a physical choice to, like, not want to replace that, because it's a, like, he can have it remain cut off and unusable for, like, reasons or reminders. I can understand that much. But I mean, I want an understanding of why, of him.
So first,
but also this guy, he looks like a dark priest who tapped into the dark dragon. So maybe the dark dragon seals are leaking, and the best way to stop the leakage is to kill the dragon in its entirety.
So Kagachi is a high-ranking officer, which is to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away. So this Yakumo, on his mission to release those seals, he ends up having to fight against Kagachi because they have conflicting objectives.
アキレスはですね、これまでシリーズでもいた、魔人
And he got his arm back,
の
apparently?
一人になってます。で、ただですね、これまで過去作にいた重機卿、それから視察重機王とはまた異なる魔人になっておりまして、
Or he's using a
アキレスについては
prosthetic in
こ
this-
の後物語に
in
ど
this
う絡んでくるのかっていうところは続報にご期待いただければと思います。
So Achilles is a fiend, and fiends have appeared in prior.
Oh, he's a fiend. Okay, so it's not a priest that was drinking the sauce that is the dark dragon seal.
Guiding games, but he belongs to a different faction of fiends. In terms of what his motivations are, you'll have to wait and see for future updates because we can't reveal those at this time.
Okay, secrets. I
Okay,
see. Well,
okay.
look out for those. Can't wait to hear more about him. Very cool. Now, in addition to the fantastic story trailer that we just saw revealed recently, I hear that you've actually got some exclusive gameplay footage for us to take a look at today, and maybe you can talk me through some of that as well.
そうですね。今日は新しいインゲーム映像を用意していただいたと聞いていますけども、それを見せながらちょっと解説していただければと思います。
Yeah, let's take a look.
Oh, there's more videos. Hell yeah.
So I hear we're in a
So,
little bit of a new setting here as well. Could you tell me a little bit
swan attacks,
about
swan
that, where we're
dives.
at first?
まずこのステージについて教
New
えていただければと思います。
こちらはですね、物語の中盤になっておりまして、先ほどお話しして
His weapons have changed 4 separate times. So, okay, that's cool. So, we have 4 different types of weapons that he has access to.
竜神島の、基地に潜入するというパートになっています。
Yeah, so this
Okay,
stage
okay.
is a little bit after the halfway point of the game, and Yakumo is infiltrating the headquarters of the Divine Dragon Order.
潜入って言っても思いっきり見つかっちゃってるんですけど。
And there's like the red orbs
Yeah,
over
he's
there
supposed to
to
be
absorb.
infiltrating it. Of course, he's going in with a bang.
As is
There's the
Ninja Gaiden,
drill.
very good.
There's the drill, Nakata,
今ちょっと装い
Nakita.
がヤクモの衣装がちょっ
There's
と
the
違うと思うん
long
ですけど、こ
sword.
ちら予約特典になっている北竜の末裔という衣装になって
The
い
drill,
ます。
of
で
course.
普段の衣装と違って結構白基調の衣装になっているので、戒律とかが結構派手に目立つかっこいい衣装になっているかなと思います。
So you might have noticed that Yakumo is sporting a different outfit than what you see usually, and this is actually the pre-order bonus.
Pre-order bonus skin. We like that. We like pre-orders. Hard for me to put into words about how insanely hyped I am. Interpreter is amazing. Hold on. What else have people said? Platinum Games and Team Ninja. Insane butter smooth animations. Wait, what do you mean locking Ryu's other weapons in the DLC? How did they say that? Seriously, they don't remember Ninja Gaiden 3? Ninja Gaiden 3 has different weapons too. They focus so much on Yakumo that... What do you mean Ryu will be... This guy is a downer. A Debbie Downer, man. Debbie Downer, man.
Than what you see usually, and this is actually the pre-order bonus for Yakumo, and it's the costume he's wearing is called the Dark Dragon Descendant outfit, and because it's white, the way the blood splatters on his outfit, it's really striking. And very
Claw mode.
で今お見せしていたのが、これが今回新しいトレーラーで公開された暗記の武器になっておりまして、一つの武器にはなってるんですけど、手裏剣だったりとか近接武器だったりとかっていうさまざまな武器を切り替えながら戦っている結構トリッキーな武器になっています。
And you know the weapon that we're showcasing right now. This is the Assassin's Tools weapon, which was
Assassin's
revealed
Tools.
in the opening Night Live trailer. And this it is one weapon, but within this weapon there is this one weapon contains a wide arsenal. So there's long-range options in the form of these large shurikens, as well as a large arsenal of close-range melee weapons.
はい、でヌエの方
That
で
is
すね、
fantastic. And hammer too.
背中からでかい
This
腕
is
が
the
生え
ninja
て
tools that has
普段よりもさら
8
にでかい
weapons within it.
武器を使って戦
Or
う
16? I
And when
don't
you go
know.
into Blood Raven form with the Assassin's Tools, these large mechanical arms will come out of Yakumo's back, and this allows you to perform even more, devastating
That's pretty cool.
attacks using the weapons included in the Assassin's Tools
Staff
arsenal.
mode too.
あと本格ですね、これまでの発
That
表
is
とかで
so
も話をしてい
bloody.
たんですけど、武器が
Everything
リアル
is
タイ
so
ムに
bloody.
切り替えられるようになってまして、先ほどのからも映像でコンだったりとか暗記だったりとかっていう武器に結構素早く切り替えて戦ってると思うんですけど、もうこれぐらいリアルタイムで常に戦闘でいろんな武器を
How
使い
would
な
you
がら戦う。
do you access
And
Blood
you might have
Raven
noticed in the
mode
footage that Yakumo is
based on a
seamlessly switching
certain
between
meter?
weapons. So in the fight that happened previously and what's happening right now, you'll see Yakumo switching seamlessly between the staff and Blood Raven hammer and the Assassin's Tools weapon.
Yeah, I like that.
あと先ほどちょっとちらっと
So
見えた
it's
と
a
思うんですけ
meter
ど、シリー
that's
ズファンの
based
方
on
向
a
けになんで
meter.
すけど、
So use the base weapon long enough, and then Blood Raven activates to change the weapon. So there's 16 total weapons.
首切り投げっていう敵
So
を投げるアクションがあるんです
8
けど、
total weapons, but with a baseline of 4.
こちらがなんと今回から空中で使えるようになったので、より自由に戦うことができます。
And series fans might have noticed that Yakumo pulled it off an in-air guillotine throw. So this is a returning technique, and Ninja Gaiden can actually use it mid-air and throw enemies at other enemies using this technique.
Sounds class. Love that.
User no drop, baby. Every time you get user no drop, your testosterones go up. User no drop, baby. This is not gonna age well, is it? Real high booty has its money running.
Awesome.
でここでまた敵が出てきたと思う。こちらがツイストソードですね。突進力を生かした武器で、
So the
結構
long
移動が多いん
sword
ですけ
turns
ど、
into
単体に対しては
a drill?
強い武器になってます。
And right now we see Yakumo using the rapier weapon, which transforms into a
rapier.
drill in Blood Raven form, and this is really effective in one-on-one encounters.
でこちらが
User no drop, baby.
And of course we see the Izuna drop.
The classic. Whoa.
Pierce the
Very
heavens.
good.
今回結構武器がヌエの方とカラスの方っていう形態に分かれているので、それぞれでいろんな滅却の殺しのパターンっていうのが見れるので、かなり見てるだけでも気持ちのいいものになっていることが分かるかなと思います。
Yeah, so the obliteration techniques, which are these flashy, finishers, they combine both the base form and the Blood Raven form varieties of these weapons. So very flashy and very cool.
Very cool.
So the dual swords turns into a long sword.
So we saw
yeah?
Yakumo use bombs and then connect that into an Izuna drop.
Nice.
でここはスイッチをしてレーザーを止めながら戦っていくっていうパートになります。
Okay, okay.
And so in this room we have those danger lasers, and you can deactivate them by hitting that generator.
Long sword Sephiroth
A little bit
mode.
of environmental
Okay.
as well as having to deal with
There was
these
a
enemies.
wing right
Wow.
there, so that's a little Sephiroth mode.
今のような感じで打ち上げた後に、タッチの武器で空中に行ってそのままコンボを続けるみたいな、
Long sword
結構
Sephiroth.
コアな遊びっていうのもできるので、そういう自由度も皆さん楽しんでいただければなと思います。
And you might have seen how Yakumo pulled off a just guard counter, launched the enemy into the air, went into the air using the Blood Raven form of the Tachi blade, and then did an Izuna drop, and then transitioned that into an on-landing ultimate technique. So there's really elevating the core
Oh,
Ninja
that's so
Gaiden
fun.
combat
That looks
experience.
so
with new possibilities.
fun.
これが暗記の手続きになってますね。
Yeah, and that was the Assassin's Tools ultimate technique.
That's really cool.
でここがカラスニングっていう今回新しいニングアクションみたいのが使えて、そこでいろいろステージを
Ultimate
進んでいくっていう
move, ultimate technique.
And you might have seen right now Yakumo use a wire to traverse through the environment. So that's part of Yakumo's Raven gear, which is a new aspect to Ninja Gaiden 4.
で他にもカラスニングはあって、それぞれ移動を補完するようなものでステージの合間合間で挟まるんですけど、
Okay. Oh, that's so
アクションの
fun.
スピード感を止めない形で、
Oh,
す
so
ごい
fun.
スムーズに入っているので、どんどんバトルに進んでいくっていう快感を味わえるかなと思います。
In addition to the traversal wire, the Raven gear includes other, traversal items, and these traversal sections connect, these combat encounters, but they don't get in the way of interrupting the pace, the high-speed, action pace that you expect from a Ninja Gaiden game.
No, it doesn't look like that at all. Very hype.
ここは狭い道なの
Hell
で、
yeah,
周囲
buddy.
の攻撃が得意な
Hammer, Izuna drop,
So
baby.
you see how Yakumo entered this close quarters area, so he whipped out the staff and hammer because that's very effective at hitting multiple enemies around the player.
ただ油
course
断
it
してると
is.
今みたいに敵にもう
And then the hammer falls.
かなりそう
The people's hammer.
いうところも激しいゲームになってるから
But the thing is, if you hesitate or you slip up, the enemy will be quick to punish you.
Yeah,
for
they
it.
are. There's a bunch of
Intensity is
ninjas
always there.
within this Dark
今映
Dragon
った技っていうのが
society.
新しい敵を弾いた後に切り抜ける琥珀という技でしてあちらがジャスト入力で琥珀の派生に成功すると
I think my pro tip would always be dealing with the long range people, in my opinion.
確定で V 欠損するっていうちょっと新しい面白いシステム
So you might have seen Yakumo perform a just guard, and after you perform a just guard, if you press the heavy button at the right timing, you'll be able to do a counter, and this will dismember the enemy and allow you to finish them off with an obliteration technique.
Little penguin? Why is that little penguin hack? Is Sayori hacking with a penguin? Oh, that's kind of cute. I want to know more about Sayori, because Sayori apparently is very aware of Ryu Hayabusa, so they maybe are in
こちら
conversation.
が今回ヤクモ
Dark Net
が使っているショップですね通信担当の海というキャラクターからアイテムを購入したり任務を受けたりすることができます
And we just saw the Dark Nest terminal, so that's where Yakumo can buy items from a supporting character named Umi. In addition to buying weapons, you can also take on missions that will have you completing
Umi
certain
with the
objectives
penguin,
during the
baby.
stages.
今のところミサイル兵器をちょっと格好つけて刀で倒してるんですけどここ例えばですけどシリーズおなじみの飛燕で倒したりっていうこともできたりします
Yeah, so Yakumo is performing some very flashy maneuvers to take out these missiles, but you can also use the legacy technique Flying Swallow to pick them out as well.
Flying Swallow, baby.
ここは一気に
Long
口
sword,
で
baby.
刀を伸ばして敵を大量に巻き込んで攻撃しました
Don't
Yeah, we
fall
just
down
saw
the
Yakumo
hole.
use the Itachi blade to, have this area of effect attack to take out multiple enemies at once.
見ていただくと分かると思うんですけど結構もう体の部位がどんどん飛び散るような感じでかなりグロテスクなんですけどただすごい刺激的で気持ちいい絵になってるかな
Yeah, and through the course of these battles, you see limbs flying, and just this, this violence, and it's not, the violence in Ninja Gaiden, it's not meant to be grotesque. It's really to provide feedback to the player and provide that sense of satisfaction and catharsis.
ここはプラットフォームの外に浮いている敵がいたので暗記の手裏剣の
Hell
攻撃で
yeah, buddy, that looks
下に
sick.
近接武器
Using a
み
drop.
たいな感じのコンボで
What if you
Yeah,
missed
now you can
that?
see-
What if you just missed that using a drop and you fell like 30 feet lower? You'd have to climb back again. That's crazy.
Yakumo used the assassin's tools to use projectile weapons to take out the enemies that are floating outside of the platform,
And you can
then switch
fly.
up to those close counter weapons to take out the other enemies.
で今少し空中に飛んだんですけどあれが新しいカラスリングのうちの一つのユスリカというものになってまして風の気流によって
Oh, God.
空中を飛び回ることができます
So you might have seen how Yakumo was floating through the air, and that's another traversal mechanic included in the Raven gear.
今みたいな形でエリア間の移動をちょこちょこ
Oh,
そういうカラス
jeez.
ニングでの移動だったりとかあとこれまでの映像でも公開したレールとか
So you have a
使って
limited amount
していくの
of
で
time,
かなり
limited amount
丸
of
ところの間
gauge
が短くなって疾走感が
of
今まで
using
よ
the
り
blood raven form
Yeah, so
before.
in addition to the Raven gear,
Okay, so it looks like the red meter that keeps building up right here. Every time you hit somebody, it builds up the gauge, and then you press a button to activate to access like the blood raven form. So right here, the rapier is now turning into the drill. So it's a battle of gauges.
you've probably seen the rail sections that have been premiered in prior footage. And these sections are really meant to keep that sense of motion through the stage and that maintain that sense of speed and tempo as you're going through these combat gauntlets.
Okay. Oh boy.
ここはちょっと
Oh,
敵が攻撃が苛烈なのでだんだん辛くなってきてる状況かなと思います
You can see the enemies are really amping it up,
Oh,
giving
boy.
Yakumo a hard time.
Oh yeah.
このちょっとでも油断したら
Oh,
すぐ
boy.
やられてしまうっていうところも忍者ガイデンの変わらない魅力かなというふうに思ってます
I
Yeah,
hear
and,
the
that sense of
storm
just
that is
relentlessness from the enemies. That's what really makes Ninja Gaiden distinct.
なんで
Oh,
時を超えて
there we go.
最新作としては出してるんですけど今まで感じてたようなすごいハードなバトルっていうのは今回も健在なのでそこはご安心いただければなと思います
Yeah, so even though it's been quite a while since the last mainline entry, Ninja Gaiden 4 retains that sense of intensity and relentlessness that the series is known for.
であとちょっと紹介が
Oh, blood raven form makes like a scarf around your face. That's really cool.
ちゃったんですけどさっき左下に出ていたゲージが乱殺ゲージというゲージでしてこちらがマックスの状態になるとさっきフィルターが出て思いっきり敵をズバッと切っていたような傑殺っていう必殺技が使えるようになります
That's really cool. Again, like I like the idea that we're continually getting like new features to be an even cooler ninja. Like, what if you could fly? What if you grew extra arms? What if you could do all three at the same time?
Yeah, you might have seen that there was this circular gauge on the bottom left-hand screen, and when that filled up, you can enter Berserk state. And when you're in Berserk state, you can unleash Bloodbath kills, and that's when the screen turns red and you just like completely devastate an enemy with a devastating strike.
Yeah. It looks
And there's
sick. I
another
really
gauge
enjoy the
building
visuals
too.
of the Berserker attack.
こいつは重装型の敵で結構手強い敵なんですけど。
There we go.
Yeah, and these enemies are usually pretty tough, but the person playing this game is really skillful, so is able to take them out.
I bet.
Really practiced, actually.
どんどん基地の奥に進む。
And he has
Yeah,
and
so you
he's
keep on
ready for the
going
next
deeper and
Blood
deeper
Raven
into the
form.
Divine Dragon Order base.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much
That's
for
really
sharing
fun.
that look at halfway through the game. I can't wait to check out some more. I have a couple of questions about.
It is pretty exciting. Like all that testosterone's that boosted an extra 50 points, man. But testosterone has never been higher.
What we've just seen, and maybe we can dig a little bit deeper into some of the bloodbind mechanics and stuff like that, if that's okay.
かっこいい映像を見せていただいてありがとうございます。これからちょっと時間残っていますので、もしよろしければ、ヌエの方とか、本作の様子について、
今作は先ほどお見せしてきたヌエの方、今まで1対1で手伝いにいまして、これまた竜より竜。
I'm so sorry. I respect you so much, but we gotta skip the Japanese because I personally don't understand Japanese.
承認いただければなと思います。
Yeah, so with Ninja Gaiden 4, we really set out to retain that core essence of what makes Ninja Gaiden, while also injecting it with these new, very expressive, diverse arsenal of techniques that you can use at your disposal. And you'll see that in the Blood Raven form of Yakumo. And also with Ryu Hayabusa, he has the Gleam State, and the Gleam State really just kind of demonstrates
the Gleam State.
It's how powerful and how just absolute Ryu Hayabusa is.
He is absolute. Ryu Hayabusa is absolute. But please, Amazon, I already know you can sell soccer cleats. I already know you can sell ramen kits. I already know you can sell like ramen streamers. Like, I know this.
That sounds really cool. So with the Blood Raven form, and maybe with Gleam as well, there's different weapons that we spoke about that Yakumo was able to pull out quite quickly on the fly. Can you tell us a little bit about what the particular unique states are for the different weapons, and also how they're best used in combat as well?
そうですね、ヤクモの武器のですけど、回転のプリミティブな体験っていうのは、これまでの忍者ガイデンでできたアクションっていうのを一通り取り揃えて、忍者ガイデンのプリミティブな体験っていうのができる形態になっています。で、一方でそのヌエの方に関しては、先ほどお伝えしたようなそのダイナミックな攻撃をできるっていう形態で、それぞれ自由にヌエの方はゲージを消費するんですけど、自由にスイッチングしながら戦うことができます。
Yeah, so the base form of Yakumo's weapons, those really retain that foundational Ninja Gaiden experience, and then the Blood Raven form allows you to unleash these more expressive, dynamic, devastating attacks.
I saw the dual blades transform into Sephiroth for a second, so that's pretty cool. I might use that a lot too.
The thing about the Blood Raven form is that it actually will consume gauge when you're using it, so the game is designed to encourage you to switch back and forth during combat.
で、武器ごとに特徴も結構分かれており、のスタンダードまで言うと火力がすごい、リーチで攻撃でかいっていう。
Base weapon is Yeah, so each weapon has its own distinct qualities. So the
I respect them so much, but I don't know Japanese.
And the Tachi, when you use a Blood Raven form, the Tachi will allow you to unleash these devastating kind of area of effect attacks, allow you to engage with enemies from a long distance. Then there is the hammer, which is the Blood Raven form of the staff, and this is very close range, but it will allow you to hit enemies that are to the side of you and behind you. And then the weapon that was revealed in the opening Nightlife trailer, the Assassin's Tools. If you look at the footage, you can see that it kind of is a jack of all trades. You can use it in any situation, but because of how diverse its tool set is, it's quite tricky to master. But once you really wrap your head around how it works, the possibilities are just immense.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Now, are there any particular enemies that are susceptible to the different weapons and also the different bloodbind states? Is that a balance that you put in there?
I don't need to know about your ramen. I don't care if you're sad about egg sandwiches. Egg sandwiches are beautiful. I don't know why you're so upset by egg sandwiches, chick.
そうですね、たりした場合はしていたような太刀による広範囲な攻撃で一気に巻き込んだりとか、あと逆に周囲に囲まれてしまってどうしようもない状況を切り抜けたいっていう時とかはハンマーで一気に攻撃してみたいな、そういう形で戦況に応じて自由に切り替えて戦っていくっていうことが重要になってくるかな。
Yeah, so depending on the enemies and the situations you're in, certain weapons can be more effective than others. So if you're in a one-on-one scenario against a very formidable opponent, you can use the rapier weapon, which transforms into the drill when you use Blood Raven form, to use that to really drill into him and and take him out. And then if you're up against a lot of enemies, you can use the dual blades in the touchy Blood Raven form to unleash area of effect attacks that can subdue them at once. And then, for example, with the hammer, if you're in a close quarters area and there's a lot of enemies ganging up on you, you can whip out the staff and just smack them, no matter where they are.
Gosh, amazing. Well, I can't wait to get my hands on all of the weapons and try them out myself, but probably the Assassin's Tools. I like the challenge you've set. Hard to master, but looks like a lot of fun to try out. Before we wrap up quickly, I would love to ask Hirayama-san and Nakawa-san what their favorite part of developing the game has been so far.
最後になりますけども、お二人種類に立ったと思います。ゲームの部分でして、至るまで、例えばこの1年前の状態と比べると、もう全く別物になってたりしていて、どういうふうにこのプラチナゲームズさんらしいこのケレミのあるアクションを忍者ガイデンの中に取り込んでいく。
That large guy was I'm pretty sure the Dark Dragon Association has some really shady things in the background, because you can't there's no way that giant person is real in real life. So of course that was from major experiments.
ゲームズさんらしいこのケレミのあるアクションを忍者ガイデンの中に取り込んでいくかというところは本当に毎日議論を重ねてなんとかここまで落とし込んできた。
What was the line? It can all be attested to the powers of Dark Dragon. Like instead. I don't know.
これの要素がありまして、そういった意味ですごく思い入れもあるし、ぜひ皆さんの方で触っていただいて、ヤクモっていう新主人公の中でもその忍者ガイデンとしてのアクションといったものを感じていただけると思うので、ぜひ触ってみていただきたいなというふうに思っています。 Yeah, so I think one of my favorite aspects of Ninja Gaiden 4 is the Blood Raven form. Blood Raven form has been a through line throughout the whole development of this game, and it was really the vehicle through which we were allowing Platinum Games to inject their own approach into Ninja Gaiden, but not just to exist on top of the foundation of Ninja Gaiden, but really incorporate it into those foundations. I think when players pick up the controller and they start playing as Yakumo, they'll understand that Yakumo is a new protagonist, but he really retains that quintessential Ninja Gaiden experience, and we're really looking forward to the day we can, deliver the game to players on October 21st.
Absolutely, not long at all. I can't wait to play it. And thank you so much, Team Ninja and Platinum Games, for showing us the look at all that very bloody but very good fun. That was great. And don't forget, you guys at home, you can pre-order.
Let's stop at I'm sorry, lady. But overall, that was a really good interview by her. I liked what we were able to. I like what we were able to see, because this was really fun to just really dig in and really enjoy. I'm excited for October 21st. I'm excited for that weekend, because I believe October 21st is a Tuesday, and I have the Friday of that week off, so I'm extremely excited to make the majority of that week Ninja Gaiden 4 gameplay. I'm super excited. I'm excited to be a ninja again. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ninja Gaiden. I don't know what to really say. This just means that I may have to play some Ninja Gaiden 3 and refresh myself in Ninja Gaiden 1 through 3, and then go from there. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. We've been streaming for like a little over 3 hours, and there's still a bunch of more videos that I want to look at. So I'm gonna take a break. And when we come back, I might come back tonight. I might come back tomorrow. I don't know. But we'll be looking at the rest of the trailers I accrued. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.